Now entering Nerdist.com.
You made it weird, you made it weird, you made it weird, oh yeah. You made it weird, you made it weird, yes you did. You made it weird, oh yeah.
You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes.
What's happening, weirdos? A few people comment from time to time, like Jack Johnson and whatnot, that these podcasts have a lot of "did we just become best friends" moments. And this episode is maybe the hardest core example of that. This is Mark Duplass. I am a huge fan of Mark Duplass, from Puffy Chair all the way up to Togetherness and every movie and project and Animals and everything in between. So it was a thrill to have him on, and you're listening to us becoming friends, which is always so wonderful when that happens. So let's get to it. My Largo show's coming up October 19th. That's this month. On the 19th, I'm going to be doing stand-up at Largo. On November 9th, I'm going to be workshopping my book about God live at Largo, talking to the audience, reading sections from the book. That one is going to be very exciting. I hope weirdos are there for both of those shows. And there's going to be one December. It's either going to be 6, 7, or 8. I'm not positive. But there's going to be one in December as well, if you're hearing this around that time, which is going to be stand-up. Largo-la.com for tickets. This episode, this wonderful episode, is brought to us by our wonderful friends at Squarespace. You guys know, if you need a website and you need it to be beautiful and you need easy-to-use templates created by world-class designers, Squarespace makes it easy to turn your ideas into a new and unique website in just a few clicks. Their analytics help you grow in real time, and if you have a question, you have 24/7 customer support there to help. So, if you need a free trial, if you're not convinced, get a free trial, squarespace.com, and use offer code WEIRD to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Whew, why am I winded? I also want to give a shout out to Pete's Picks. Used both my Pete's Picks today, as I do most days, which is why they're called Pete's Picks. One is Alpha Brain. It is a nootropic. It is like fish food for your noggin. It's earth-grown ingredients. It's not a stimulant. It helps you with concentration, memory, focus. Anytime I do something creative that uses my brain, I am taking 2 or 3 Alpha Brain 15 minutes before, and I absolutely feel the difference. I love it. I always have a couple in my pocket. I always have a bottle in my car, in every backpack that I have. In every podcast, script, stand-up set that I have done for the past 3 years, I've taken Alpha Brains on it. If you want to try it, and I suggest that you do, go to onnit, onnit.com/weird, and you will get 10% off your purchase. The other one that I use, I had a little crick in, well, it's not a crick if it's in your shoulder. I had a little pain in my shoulder, a little bit of a headache. I use Charlotte's Web Hemp Oil. This is made from the hemp plant, but they take out the THC part, so it is just the non-psychoactive CBD part of the plant, which gives me a happy, healthy, giggly, relaxed, low anxiety glow that I have come to swear by. It's a wonderful alternative to having a cocktail if I'm just trying to unwind at the end of the night. But it doesn't fog you up or get you anything even really close to stoned, meaning you can read a book, you can watch a movie, you can hold a conversation, and it's legal in all 50 states. This is not a narcotic. This is the CBD part of the plant, which is very, very healthy. The Stanley Brothers did an episode where we discussed it at length. If you have more thoughts about CBD, or if you just want to dive in and try it, I like the mint chocolate flavor. I like Everyday Advance or Everyday Plus. And you can go to CW, like Charlotte's Web, cwhemp.com/weird, and use promo code KEEPITCRISPY for 10% off. Thanks again to Squarespace. Thank you for supporting us, Squarespace. Remember, if you need to start your business, make it stand out, a new business, with Squarespace. Beautiful templates created by world-class designers. It is easy to turn your new idea into a unique and wonderful website. You can showcase your work, blog, or publish content, even sell products in a unique store, and services of all kinds in just a few clicks. Customize everything from the look and feel to settings and products. You can use their analytics to help you grow in real time. Not to mention, everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box. Means it's going to look good on a computer. It's going to look good on a phone. And with over 200 extensions to choose from, Squarespace offers a new way to buy domains. Best of all, there's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. And even though it's super easy, if you do have a question, Squarespace's award-winning 24/7 customer support is always there to help. A dream is just a great idea that doesn't have a website yet, so make it a reality with Squarespace. And if you need a free trial, I highly recommend a free trial. Go to squarespace.com and use offer code WEIRD for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com, offer code WEIRD. All right, guys, hope to see you at Largo in October or November. Try Pete's Pick. Enjoy, Mark Duplass, and thank you, Squarespace. Get Valerie? Get Valerie.
To say, get into it.
Yes! Get into it.
I mean, these guys are pretty tight, high and tight, so we should be good. I used to be a musician, and I used to sing into one of these things. So.
Oh, you used a wind guard, a blue wind guard? I was just watching did you watch the Tony Robbins? We're recording, by the way, just so you're not caught off guard.
Hey, Pete.
I just want you to know. Some people feel off put by that. Did you watch I Am Not Your Guru, the Tony Robbins documentary?
I did.
And there was a guy, it reminded me very much of church. You know what I mean? Like
I found it very odd.
It is very odd.
I had this erroneous perception of Joe Berlinger as a guy who was going to dig deep and elucidate some of the inconsistencies and fallacies within.
But I think Tony Robbins had final cut on it.
Clearly. Clearly something was wrong. Because I kept watching and being like, wow, he's giving Tony all this validation that 30 minutes in and he's still not showing that 45 minutes in. He's still not showing the crowd 60 minutes in. Oh, this is just going to be
a puff piece.
An enormous blowjob to Tony Robbins.
Thought, it's funny that you say that because I watched it a second time. And the reason I brought it up was his staff.
Mm-hmm. Really, a lot like my staff downstairs.
Yes, it reminds me a lot of the vibe of your work, actually.
Yeah.
No, but there was a guy. They all felt like associate pastors. He felt like a pastor, and they all felt like associate pastors.
Yeah. And
one of those assistant guys or employees, the wind guard matched his shirt. I'm sure it was an accident, but it didn't look like an accident. You know what I mean? I was like, I wonder if he grabbed the red mic because he was wearing a red shirt.
That's pretty cool, man.
But
these wind guards are great.
They're not
musicians don't use them though because they don't like. They feel like it ruins like the sound quality. So you go to like a shitty rock club. So I got sick on every tour I ever went on. I would be sick within like the first 5 days. And I always get so fussy because I was the lead singer, and I was like, I can't sing well, and people aren't going to like me, and the whole thing. All the things we feel. And
but for music.
Exactly.
Like you had to tell somebody.
As is applied to music.
Yes.
And then, like, literally, like, on my 4th or 5th tour, I, like, saw, like, some, like, guy who was, like, 15 years older than me, like, step up to sing and, like, pull his own SM58 out of his pockets,
like
microphone, and put it on there, and then put his windscreen on top of it. And I was like, I see what's happening.
Wait, he brought his own mic and
your own mic and your own. You're not only removing everyone else's germs, you're taking the microphone that only has your germs and protecting yourself from your own germs.
Yeah, but that guy's a lame-o.
that guy's a lame-o, but he never got sick.
That man was Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like, how heartbroken would you be if Stevie Ray was like, so I'm going to tear down the house, but first, some safety. It's not very rock and roll.
It would be the ultimate irony, too, because he really did die very soon, even though he was sick.
Stevie Ray?
Yeah.
It's funny. Did Tom Petty pass yet?
He did.
Is he still?
It's official.
I didn't know if he was clinging.
It happened yesterday. Yeah, it's official.
I wasn't trying to be funny. I was going to say it's a heartbreaker. It is a heartbreaker, but I didn't mean that as a joke.
It's all right. But anything you say is going to contain one of his lyrics. Because he wrote 26 incredible hit songs. So it is impossible not to pun.
It's going to happen.
So let's just let it roll.
But then I was thinking about the role in which rock and roll's reputation with unsafety.
Yeah.
Like putting a mic guard is very prudent, but it's not very rock and roll.
No.
And then Tom TP and the HBs, I watched a video with Gary Shandling and Tom talking. It's on YouTube.
Wow.
Worth watching.
From what year?
It was in the 90s, I believe.
Wow.
And they had been friends for a while.
Oh,
and they were doing
what a
it
friendship.
but like friends like
Yeah.
hugeness for Gary, at least, I guess.
Yeah.
And then TP was smoking the whole time. And I was kind of like, it's interesting because I feel like you might be interested in this area. He's Tom Petty and he's being Tom Petty.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Petty seems like he would, like, how much do we encourage that sort of behavior for him to smoke? Is it like when I found out that Tom Petty, when he did like a voice on King of the Hill, would like duck out to smoke, I'm kind of like, rock and roll.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, Tom Petty dies and you're like, shit,
man.
maybe we should.
Was I a part of the collective enabling of Tom Petty in some strange way? Is a question.
What I'm saying, like national and a global collective enabling of bad behavior.
Listen, I get it.
I don't know why I thought you would like that, but
No,
you know the
totally
roles that we
Yeah.
play. I feel like your work explores who we are, who we think we are.
Yeah. I
And
was
Tom
having
Petty-
a real big Tom Petty run. I watched his big 4-hour documentary on Netflix. If you haven't seen it,
I did see it.
the first 2 hours are amazing. The next 2 hours are a little bit.
Well, the last 2 hours are just "I am not your guru."
It's just like, it doesn't really matter.
It rolls into Tony Robbins.
Exactly.
It's very weird.
But the first 2 hours were great, and I was struck so much by his confident, straight, loving truthfulness with he approached people and everything. Where I'm just I'm always like having conversations with 2 or 3 people that I like to figure out how best to maneuver a situation into my favor with some various and sundry form of a mistruth, basically. It's like always what should I say to get it to go this way, and how do I do it to the
Have you ever caught yourself saying you agree with something that you absolutely don't agree
100%.
with, just to kind of be
100%
likable,
either put it
and
behind me
peaceable?
or to get some love or whatever it is.
Yes.
And when he talks about when he discovered Howie, the bass player in his friend's band who he was producing, and Tom Petty's friend starts to realize, Tom is in love with my bass player Howie, and Howie is the most important thing in my band, and I have to protect this. So Tom's friend comes to him and says, "Listen, man, please, like, you take whatever you want. Don't take Howie. He's my whole band. Like, you can't do that to me." And the way Tom describes it, looking at his friend and saying, "Hey, man, listen, it's okay. Just relax. I'm going to steal Howie because I'm a more popular musician than you are, and he's going to want to come with me, and that's what he should do. But I still want to be your friend, and I hope we can get over it." And he's like, and he got over it, sort of.
Yeah.
And he was so at peace with the way that all played out, slightly dirty.
But that's that outside perspective that artists can sometimes have, even on their own
Sometimes.
lives. Not you and I.
Yeah.
It sounds
Never.
like we're in situations where we're stuck in them.
Yeah.
But he and Gary Shanley seemed to be guys that were like, yeah, and that was really unpleasant.
Yeah,
Like, they could just kind of be like, wow, I really the character of Tom really fucked over that guy that day.
Yeah.
But the Heartbreakers had to be had that
that's right.
sense of drive.
He even has a moment in the big HBO documentary about what's his name, the Beats guys, Jimmy Iovine. And Dre.
The Beats guys.
Where he talks about how Jimmy Iovine wanted to become a producer, and it was
that one,
nothing he could do. He was drifting. His destiny was to become a producer away from the creativity.
These guys seem like murder mystery novelists in that they're working from the ending. Somehow they already know the ending.
They do.
They're like, well, I had to become Dr. Dre. Why did I do a Jimmy Iovine impression while being Dr. Dre?
I don't know, but
I don't know.
What none of you who are listening to this got to experience is that weird swirling and finger point thing that you did at the same time, which there's only 2 of us here.
Yeah.
And we got to.
But it happened.
Me and Katie. Katie got to see it.
See, you're manipulating this situation in a wonderful way because you're remembering Katie's name and you're being kind and friendly.
I want to win. I want to win. I want to be loved.
Can I tell you, Katie?
I want to be adored.
You'll say, how many people acknowledge? It's not that they need to, but not a lot of people acknowledge you, right? It's not mean.
Nobody gives a shit about
nice. Katie. It is nice to care.
Yeah.
And that puts you in a very rare percentile of our guests. Well done.
Thanks, man. I'll be honest with you. You and I have met a couple of times at like parties and things.
Briefly, yes.
And I'm perfectly honest. I find you to be very intelligent and insightful. Good sense of humor.
Why do I feel like something horrible is coming?
Like, good sense
Something
of humor.
bad is coming.
Really well studied. You probably read way more books than I have. I have a lot of interest in all this stuff. But when both of you sit down right here in this stage of my life, I'd kind of rather have a conversation with Katie. It's just what it is. I don't know what it is.
It's fun. Not to reduce Katie to just a woman, but I was just saying today that I love being direct.
Let's get ourselves in trouble here, shall we?
No. It's pro lady.
It's pro lady. Good,
I love performing, acting, writing with women.
Yeah.
And it's not just this, but there is an element of I'm still starstruck by every woman. I'm like, a woman? It's a remnant of junior high.
And is that your diagnosis of it? Is that kind of what you think it is?
I do think I want to impress them. So what you're doing with Katie is kind of what I would do a little bit as well. Just because I'm like, cool.
I think I'm discovering something about myself right now because
is that you
as
too?
You walked up the stairs at this we've just grown our company a little bit. The employees a
lot of ladies.
They're all women and one Chinese man. That's what we got.
One Chinese man by the bathroom.
That's who we are.
Not a good poop bathroom. I hope you have a better.
We're getting
poop
in trouble
bathroom.
everywhere.
All ladies.
No, he
and
gets
one
to talk on
Chinese man.
Sundays. It's fine. And then when I look at a lot of the movies I've made or that I built for myself to star in, which I consider my more experiential movies, how do I want to have fun with my life? What do I want to have a good time doing?
Yeah.
There are movies like Your Sister's Sister, me and two ladies, and the one I love with Elizabeth Moss, and Blue Jay with Sarah Paulson. I make these little things with me and women for whatever reason.
I feel let's just talk about feminine energy. It tends to be more open.
Generally.
Obviously not women, but you have feminine energy, I have feminine energy. It's more open. It's more womb-like, enveloping, welcoming. Yes. Dicks are fucking and they're shoving, and hard rock is very we're going to fuck this crowd.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the safe space, and I enjoy being a safe space for people.
When Van Halen played New Haven, they got up to the microphone and they say, "Is this Van Haven?" That's what they say. And women don't do that.
Did you in the middle yes and me, or were you going to say that?
No, that's real.
That's what you were going to say?
That's what they do. Every time they show up, they go, "Is this Van Haven?"
I didn't mean to steal your punchline. I was just excited at the opportunity.
It just shows our symmetry here, I guess. I have a bunch of dude friends who are we just call ourselves basically the Estrogen Club. We hang out a lot up here.
Yep.
And we smoke weed and we talk about our feelings and that works pretty well. I've kind of found my way to some guys.
No, I'm into that.
Yeah.
I like in my family I went mom. Mm-hmm. You could go mom or dad. I had very kind of traditional moms and dads.
Okay. Yeah.
One mom, one dad. But
How many did you have?
just in the categories moms and dads. What was it for you? Did you go mom or did you go dad?
It's a variable thing in our family. It's the four of us. It's me and Jay, my parents.
Yep. No others.
No others.
As if you were going to leave them out.
Exactly.
No others.
No others.
All right, Karen.
Well, I'm going to wait till the end and talk about Karen.
So it's the four of you.
It's just the four of us.
Is Jay older or younger?
Jay is 4 years older, but everybody thinks I'm older.
Well, he's got young face.
He's got young face. He's got probably young energy. I'm also much more forward in my energy.
Have people said you're like an old soul? Have you ever
It's
been
not that.
accused?
I have gotten a little bit of that, but it's mostly just honestly, just a little more type A energy. You come to a party, you meet me and Jay.
That's what makes you so fun.
I'm a step up front, and so everybody's like, "Oh, he must be the older one," And there's an interesting dynamic that goes a long way back with me and Jay, which was he was my fearless leader until we were 18 and 14, and I just worshipped him and would follow him around and do everything. And
I just watched the Avett Brothers documentary. They have 4 years between them as well, and it was 14.
Am I going to
18.
cry if I watch this?
Yes, the whole
I'm
time.
not going to. Yeah, because I don't know if I can handle that
the whole time. And you'll write music the rest of the day.
I'll write. Yeah,
you'll just go I don't know what else there is to do. Why aren't we just playing?
Why aren't we playing?
Why aren't we
music?
just playing our hearts right now? It's the best.
And I'll be like, because I used to get sick in those microphones.
But your own wind guard. They sang into non-wind guarded nights, but it was 14 and 18.
Well, that's
they weren't friends, and then 14, 18 was when it was just enough.
Yeah. So what happened? I was a little different in that Jay was
I think I have that right.
And I'm not really coloring this. This is really true. The ultimate big brother. I mean, he never, ever left me out of anything.
Really?
Included me with all of his friends.
Before you were 14, 18?
Before, the whole way through.
This is the dream.
The whole way. Like
You know when your brother has a friend over and you just want to hang out with them? He would let you?
A couple of moments in puberty where he was like off and he like... didn't do it perfectly.
I just came.
Basically, he was
acting weird because he just came.
Because he just came 3 times in a row. We slept in the same bed until we were, he was like 15 and I was 11 because I was scared of the dark. And we would make music and make movies together, and it was incredible. And I think part of it is that he was always like you said, young face, maybe young spirit, like playing a year down, and I was playing like a year up as like a forward, more confident person. So the gap was more like 2. But I accepted him, and I never tried to debunk his authority. I never had any of that like, I gotta destroy my God here and make my way because this is just my guy.
He's in the way.
Yeah, and then Jay went to college, and he was like 5'7" and 110 pounds. He went to the University of Texas, and like everybody was bigger than him, and everybody was just more life downstream than him, and he just got destroyed and could not deal. And I didn't understand that at 14 because I was like doing my own puberty thing, but something inside of me was like, okay, I think I have to take the baton at this point. So I started basically going to visit him as much. They had these cheap Southwest flights, and I would go up to him, brother? And I would be like, "We're gonna go to this keg party," and he'd be like, "All the girls are like 10 feet taller than me," and I was like, "We're going to the keg party," and like we would show up, and we started developing this little act where we'd like do keg stands together, and
15?
Oh yeah, well I grew up in New Orleans too because that was you're way downstream there, so like by the time I was honestly 14, we had
really
weed and acid and all the boot, the whole thing.
Let's stay on Jay, and I'll make.
We'll get back there. So that wasn't like new.
Did he know it wasn't corny? Like that, the little brother was there.
I can't explain it other than
I don't think it's corny. I just think that people in college might because they're so fragile.
I looked a little older.
Yeah.
So they didn't feel that weird, and people were just kind of taken by it or something, and
charmed.
They were charmed by it, and there was always a sweetness around it, and there was always a sense, always growing up, of like, you guys have to meet the boys. Like everybody called us the boys.
Get out!
And it was like, oh, you have to see them. Like when they're together and they do this thing, it's like,
what was the routine?
Like all kinds of things. Whether we were like doing skits for our family, we made like a movie that like parodied everyone in our family when we were young. Then when we were 13,
how did you make that movie? VHS?
Yeah, VHS.
Like a VHS camcorder.
VHS-C, yeah.
And not edited in camera.
Deck to deck.
Yeah, deck to deck edited?
Yeah, deck to deck edited.
Who taught you this?
Camera into the VHS player. We just figured it out.
No.
We also
This is amazing.
We also live scored. While I was going deck to deck, we would erase one of the audio tracks and do live music scoring.
How do you erase an audio track on
you don't pull like as the RCA cable goes left and right. Take the left RCA cable in, and the right RCA cable is coming out of your music device, mono, putting it on there at the same time. Like these kids now who have iMovie, I mean, fuck those kids.
Yeah, I know.
They're not going to be able to do anything because they have nothing in their way.
But you had to walk through the fire, so you
I had to walk through the fire.
more.
I wanted it
and then
so bad.
That probably showed.
We'll have to talk about that at some point because I have kids who are 5 and 9, and I'm trying to create the fire for them right now.
All right,
this
walk
is
through
not
fire.
Easy.
I just wrote down Vice and Walk Through Fire.
Yes, fire, walk with me.
But this is very heartwarming to me.
And it was lovely. I mean, like,
so you were playing music as well.
We're playing music.
What kind of parents are we dealing with that?
Surprisingly,
that they understood the value of art and creativity and boredom. I'm sure we could talk about boredom.
We were not to be stopped. They were not cultivating. They were not saying,
it wasn't.
Would you like to play drums? Would you like to play guitar? We're doing this.
You were the weird neighborhood boys that were like, I found a ukulele.
Yeah, 100%. And we like begged for 2 years to give us a set of drums, and then finally it was like our collective Christmas and birthday present.
And you had
was
never
the drum
played
kit.
Drums?
Never
and
played
you just
drums.
Were like, I want to do that.
We want to do it. We liked music. We felt it. I don't know where it came from. It was just there.
And that was like your little conspiracy.
And that was our thing.
You're in the bed at night.
You got it.
Talking. Mm-hmm. This is like the most, not
writing
sexually
movie
romantic,
ideas.
this is the most romantic, you know what I mean?
It was beautiful. I mean, honestly,
it is beautiful.
it was probably the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
Are the times when we were intrinsically creatively linked, which were like some of that in our youth, some of that really special stuff when Jay was having his breakdown in his freshman year of college, and I was able to feel important and helpful for the first time. And since then, to make a long story short, I really have been more in the older brother role.
Right, that was the flip.
And it's just this feeling that I have, which is, I mean, it sounds hyperbolic, but it's really true for me. It's like, he can do anything he wants to me now. It doesn't matter because he laid 14 years of golden track for me.
Like there's no betrayal that would take that away.
There's nothing he can do now.
That's amazing.
And, and there sometimes people will even see a certain thing.
You're reminding me of that scene in Togetherness where you and your friend dig up the box.
Yeah.
And I wept.
Yeah.
Which is something we can also talk about. The mix of heart was always so right on the money for me.
Oh, thanks, man.
But
That's
that
really
moment
nice.
where you guys found the box, that must have been inspired by you and Jay, right?
Male intimacy is like one of my central preoccupations, as much as we did talk about how much I like making art with women. But the male intimacy thing is like something I stumbled upon later as an artist, where I was like, all the stuff I'm seeing is like really, really funny and acerbic, and they tend to make fun of each other, like we did on The League, which was like, I didn't really understand that. I honestly always felt out of place on that show.
Right.
I was like, this isn't funny to me. This is just mean.
To be honest, the whole cast seemed confusing to me. Like Kroll isn't like that. Sheer is really
people
not
loved
like
it.
that. No, I know.
And maybe that helped, that at the core we were kind of nice people. So maybe that helped rub some of that edge.
Right.
It was like felt or something.
It's like Danny McBride in real life is 100%. The sweetest man.
Yeah, and that's why it can be sold, because you feel it from the spirit.
Yes, you don't want that like glint of like, oh, he really is a cock.
He really is that way.
He's a cock. He's a sweetheart.
But
male intimacy and the scene where you dig up the scripts that you wrote as kids in the show is based. I'm not trying to tie it to that, but it reminds me.
No, it's very much that. I mean, I'm a nostalgic person in general, so anytime anything nostalgic happens,
but the whole Dune thing. I mean, I feel that. I feel guys,
I mean, that's just a link to like the days when my brother and I would just like I spent a summer with him in Austin when I was 15 and he was 19. And we stayed behind in his apartment, and we just made bad little movies and made bad music and watched movies and went to see bad plays. And it was just like, I should be very clear that like I'm saying all these things that sound so black and white and hyperbolic, but they're true. Like, I have the best marriage. I have the best kids. I have the best life. I will never be happier than that summer in Austin I spent with my brother when I was 15 years old. Wow. And had nothing, and nothing good was going on. Nothing good.
Yeah.
You know, my bucket was so empty then, empirically. It's so full now.
I was going to ask, how do we maintain that purity when we're kids and we're making things to make things?
Yeah.
As we were in the second season of my show, I noticed that you had to be deliberate to remember, this is play. This is magic. Like sometimes I'd imagine myself telling 9-year-old doughy me what I do. Yeah. And I tried to vampire some of his excitement. Yeah. Do you ever, I'm sure you
I think about it all the time. I'm obsessed with it.
That idea.
I think, I turned 40 last year, and I realized that like if I shut the whole thing down right now and just retired, and it's like kids are in public school and I live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house and we drive Hyundais, I never have to work again for the rest of my life. If I do that and live off of like $40,000 a year, I'm good. So then that changed everything for me. So I was like, fuck, okay, so what's it all about? And like, it's got to be about joy then. It's got to be about, you know, what is this bringing to my life? How is this juicing me up?
So you made a decision to be like, I don't have a master.
I didn't make the decision. I just was aware of it.
But that was liberating.
Yes, and it was confusing and exciting, but it's made me start to think about art the way you talked about, trying to connect to your 9-year-old self. And a lot of what I'm doing is that. And my like early analyses are that form is very important. at the form of your HBO show and the form of Togetherness, because they're machines that require rhythms and people to get into roles, to learn them, and to continue to do them well in a certain way, just inherently means that you're going to get into a rut that is not moment by moment inspired like children are, because it's a machine and it has to be built that way,
right?
And it's very, very hard. Now, Room 104 is a perfect form for that,
because you can do short stories.
Every night is some ridiculous idea that I fart up in my sleep,
right?
And if 8 out of 12 of the episodes are good and 4 are interesting failures, I'm winning, and that frees me up to just like swing wildly like you do when we're 9. You know, this podcast, I imagine the reason you're still doing this, I'm projecting, but there's an electricity. You can't possibly know what's going to happen in our conversation. It's exciting.
Right.
We're going to flow completely. Nothing bad can happen.
Right.
I mean, as long as Katie keeps her mouth shut and doesn't try to.
No, I do get that. People
here.
go like, "Oh, thanks for continuing to do the podcast," and I'm like, "This is as close to a sleepover as I can get."
100%. 100%. And Jay and I sit up in this little room and we talk about our lives now, and we talk about what are the best ways for us to return to that
What are the
form.
techniques? What are the
We
strategies?
are struggling, to be perfectly honest with you,
You mean right now or always?
Right now we are, and we have in our adult lives, and I mean, we just wrote a book about it, basically. That's how kind of big it is, at least for us.
About maintaining childlike
About maintaining
enthusiasm?
our connection, about what is the best form of our creative collaboration, both from a product standpoint and what is made from a process standpoint, to enjoy each other, to stay close versus fuck, I want to go off and make my solo record, man. And all those feelings you have when you're in a deep collaboration with someone. And in particular, for us, how extremely difficult, and we're just realizing it now, it was for us to be each other's everything for a long time and then get married and develop our own lives and allow that individuality to happen and still remain like 3/4 soulmates.
Right.
What is that like?
Yeah.
That requires crafting and work, and
Right.
that's what we work on.
Right. Because it's interesting when Jay went on Transparent. Obviously, I love Transparent.
Yeah.
I love Jay on Transparent.
Yeah.
There has to be something where you're like, but that's not. You guys aren't producers, right?
100%.
He's an actor on a show.
Yep.
And now it's like he went to different high schools.
100%. 100%. And I mean, we're not strangers to that, because I had sort of done that with like the League and a couple of other things, and so that's what these conversations are like up
what
here.
you just made me think of was a friend of mine, my kind of soulmate growing up. He was actually on the podcast, Ern. Big Ern.
What does Ern do now?
Ern is he works in Alzheimer's research outside of Cleveland.
He does good stuff.
He does good stuff. Yes, he does. And I remember Ern, and he got his license a little bit before me. And he was driving, and I remember one day I said to him, I was like, this is so cool, you're driving. Like, he came and picked me up. And when I don't begrudge him when kids try and be more grown up than they are. He said, honestly, the thrill is gone for me. It's just I just get in the car and I drive.
Wow.
And I was like, in that moment, I swear, I maybe didn't articulate it in my brain this way, but I was like, I never want to get used to driving.
Yeah.
And I still try. Like, when I get in my car, I still will be like, I am in charge of this vehicle, and no one can tell me where to go and all that stuff. But it's hard to the lure, like we're saying, cigarettes for Tom Petty, being responsible and letting the thrill out of things is to being a grown-up.
It is extremely difficult. I look at Tony Hawk sometimes and I see what he is able to do at 50 years old on a skateboard.
Yeah.
And there's an energy about him that may have always just been free-spirited in that way, but I can't help but think that guy stayed close to his board. That was a really, really smart move.
That's a great slogan. Stay close to the board is the advice.
Stay close to the board.
Well, this is why you have guitars, and I keep guitars out.
Yeah.
Music is that good way.
100%.
You play the piano. I think that verb is appropriate.
Yes, it is appropriate.
You play, like last night, I came home, got a little toasted, and just played silly songs on the piano. And I was so proud of us that we went and bought a piano. I know that's weird to say.
No.
But I was like,
it's tremendous.
I'm proud that we bought this piano.
Yeah.
I grew up in a house with piano. You don't play it. It's too loud. Decorative pianos.
Annoying. Decorative pianos.
Fuck that shit.
One of my sensitive friends is this guy, Julian Wass, who does all my music scores for all of my movies. And our kids go to school together, and there's a camping trip every year. The whole class goes up to El Capitan up in Santa Barbara, and we rent cabins and camp. And there's a tradition that's developed where there's like a big sing-along band. And it's like my one night a year to like play live music again. And me and Julie and a couple of the other parents like have formed this band. And like our goal is to like show kids some of the great music they don't know about yet. So like we put together this like 10-song set list, which this year included Africa by Toto on acoustic guitar. And man, the purity of the playing of that stuff, which could possibly have no other reason but to enjoy it.
Right. But that's Tony. It's that epiphany that nobody's stopping you from skateboarding.
Yeah.
There really is like like you were saying about Tom Petty, the collective unconscious agreement that we're making that goes at a certain age. Like I played with action figures until I was 18.
You did.
And I
Good
only
for you,
stopped because people made fun of me.
Yeah.
I didn't have a brother like Jay. I love my brother, but I didn't have a collaborator like that. So I remember playing with action figures and going, God damn it, I think this plot is amazing.
Yeah.
Like surprising yourself. Like, and then Duke came back, like some like resurrection plot, and maintaining that is I'm just agreeing with what you're saying.
But it is hard to hang on to.
You're playing those songs, and is that where the juice is? Like, because you're in the joy. We're similar ages, and we're both going. Okay, we've had some success, and now we're trying to go. What we should have been asking all along, which is like, what is it really about? Where is the juice?
Yeah.
So playing music.
Playing music is a big part of that.
Not being embarrassed.
Being very smart about, or trying to be smart about the forms that I approach with filmmaking and TV now so that I am set to win. You know, I look at, again, Togetherness, which was a really great show.
I don't know
a lot
if
of
you
my
can
heart and
tell.
soul of it.
Love it. I've seen every episode
Thank
multiple
you.
times. Valerie is obsessed with it. Like
she's not over there, though.
No,
Okay,
but this is Easter.
Yeah,
You're very point conscious.
Yes.
But it's such a good show.
Thank you.
It's funny, wonderful. We looked forward.
It was that I spent a lot of soul points making that show. That show was hard to make. I got a lot out of it, but I feel like I spent more than I got in the ratio. I don't know if that connects with you in any way of like what was required to make it and get out of me in terms of what I got back.
Were you waiting for some comment on like, wow, you really like put your soul like?
No, I didn't need fun. Oddly enough, I didn't need the validation in that one small element of my life. I felt very good. It wasn't that anything was missing. I honestly just feel like I have this term soul points that I use, which is just like you only have so many of these. Try and hang on to them. Don't give out too many of them unless they're being replenished by it. So I was giving 60 soul points per season. I was only getting 40 back. And Room 104, oddly enough, I'm only giving 10.
Game changer. That's a game changer.
But I'm getting 30. I'm getting less back for Room 104 empirically than I got on Togetherness, but my ratio is way, way up.
You're spending less.
Yes.
Because you did
I'm in soul profit.
Yeah. You have a silo for your extra soul now.
And
but I know what you mean.
Critical for me, man. When I get home at 5 o'clock and my kids are there, and if I don't have the soul points, man, I'm just like, fuck, what am I doing?
I was just saying, I was hanging with my friend Rob Bell, who's an author and a spiritual teacher guy who's amazing.
I want one of those friends. That sounds pretty
He's a
great.
Great friend. You would love him. Just by talking, you would love him. And I think you'd love a book of his called How to Be Here. It's about what we're talking about. And I'll
cry reading that whole book, and I'll be convinced that I'm going to change my life, and I will for 48 hours.
It doesn't sound like you need to change your life. You're in the struggle, too. I think that's lovely. Yeah. But I was like, when I was in New York making the second season, my soul points were like dangerously low. And then I got back to LA, and I was like, what is it? I was like, is it the weather? There is some element of I can sit on the porch with my dog. Soul points are climbing.
Up.
I have my piano. I'm banging on the piano.
Isn't that wild?
And then you also just like the free space. Like I'm not thinking fucking constantly.
Yeah.
constantly thinking. So you actually had some time to be bored and relaxed. And then I had those friends and those relationships that feed me.
Yes.
And so I know exactly what you're talking about. Soul Points is a game changer for me. But you're finding coming home at 5 and your kids are there, that's giving you Soul Points.
Soul Point recipe for me right now, as best defined here in 2017, is like up at 6:30 or 7.
Up early is part of it.
Well, I'm just up because of the
kids.
When the kids get up, and I'm in bed by 10:30, kind of managing that.
Well, I didn't mean to project myself onto you, but I was like, I've been getting up early and going to bed earlier. What are we, Ben Franklin?
Yeah.
But it does. It contributes.
It
works. If I do stand up, I go. I've just become this guy where I'm like, do you have an 8 o'clock show, and can I go on first?
100%.
Because I need to start winding down. It's not just the set. It's coming home and letting the adrenaline burn off.
Yeah.
So I can go to bed. We're old men.
It
doesn't matter. I've been this way since my whole life.
I'm happier and have always been happier on that schedule.
Up early and you're tired by 10:30. You go to bed.
I love it.
I love it. I don't need to watch another
so much to
episode
talk
of Will
about.
and
I have
Grace.
another New Orleans drinking thing to tell you about that relates to that as well. But
we're
anyway.
talking about your recipe for joy. So you're up at 6:37.
Soul Point recipe up 6:30 or 7.
2017.
It's breakfast with the kids, some fun farting around.
Yes.
Just like they're really fun in the morning. They're kind of like goofy and loopy.
Yes.
Enjoying that. Get them to school by 9. Then a work day that is the best day for me is from 9 to 4. And kind of ruthlessly efficient work day. Like really the last person on a phone call when it's a group conference call, the first person off of it. I kind of move quickly.
Protecting yourself.
Like, I protect myself.
Protecting yourself.
Yes.
You said it early. Setting up to win.
And then at 4...
I've been the first person on a conference call so many times.
I don't do that anymore. I'm done with that. I'm the last person on the conference call.
See, you're just a little bit older than me.
Yeah,
that's what I have to learn.
18 months on
You're just ahead of me. You're visiting me at the University of Texas right now.
Yes, exactly. And then I try to get home by 4 and then do a very quick 20-minute elliptical machine workout. Have the gym at home.
Yep.
I have an infrared sauna at home now.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
It's
I
not
do
bad.
too.
You do?
I'm telling you, our joy.
Are we purging toxins on a cellular level? Is this what's happening?
I infrared sauna every morning.
Oh, it's the best.
I get up early and I have that time to write, just to work,
Beautiful.
Just me, just sleep over with me.
Yeah, sleep over with you.
Bored. I consider just being up the success. You know what I mean? If I don't get
That's the
shit
win.
done,
Yeah.
I go, I've already won. Yeah, I go, if I can,
that is healthy.
If I can get to the chair where I sit when I write, I won. Everything else is bonus. And then I get in that fucking sauna and I sweat. Clear light? Who makes it?
I don't know.
It doesn't
Some
matter.
Norwegian company, and I love them. Because I love Norway. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Love it. I've never met someone else that has an infrared sauna.
Yeah. So what I'm going deep on it now because I used to be an athlete, and endorphin rushes were. I wasn't a major athlete. I ran in high school. I was fine. But
I understand.
Endorphins were
That counts.
a major part of my happiness. And I realized I've gotten older. I'm missing that, and it's a problem.
We're just two men figuring out the same shit.
But
like
I'm not in shape enough to exercise to the point where the big sweat happens and the big endorphin rush comes. So I get myself 50% of the way there
on the
Lippy with my current bod as it can handle, and then I go finish myself off in the infrared sauna.
And you're
with
warming
the sweat
the sauna
already
up
started.
while you're
it's
on the
warming
Lippy.
up while it's happening. There's another element too, though.
I want to talk about it.
There's a hot tub heating up, and I leave the pool cold. So then when I'm done, I do cold and hot plunges back and forth. And I don't know what it is, but that cold hot water thing, it's like weed for me. I mean, it really takes the edge off everything.
If I come home tonight and get in the sauna, sometimes I'll call Val on the way home.
Yeah.
Turn the sauna on.
Yeah, I do that too.
Please turn
it's
the sauna
really
on.
annoying request. Nobody likes it. But
Get in there, sweat for an hour. I 45 minutes an hour.
Yeah.
Cold shower. I don't have a plunge thing, but I'll just take a cold shower. I will get out and I will be who I've always wanted to be.
A new
with
man.
Valerie. You know what I mean? Like leaving the work on the floor, and I'm fucking silly. It's like you said, weed. It's like being stoned.
It is.
I'm just like the silliest boy.
Yeah.
And it's all physiological. I'm just getting we shit on Tony, well, mildly shit on Tony Robbins at the beginning.
Yes.
He's all about the hot to cold. He goes, I
saw him jump in that thing. That was extreme when he jumps in that little cold water tomb.
59 degree tomb.
Jesus.
And I said to Val, I was like, we're going to get a plunge pool. And then she was like, what if I just hose you off? And I was like, you're the right woman for
I
me.
was not allowed to get a plunge pool because of how fucking dorky it is.
It's dorky.
I'm not allowed. But in the winter, they allow me to not heat the pool so it can stay cold and approximate a plunge pool for me. So I get that.
But I can't believe we're doing the same thing. Fucking keep going. Joy, soul, point. I mean, you've given enough, but it sounds like maybe there's more.
But that's that. So, and then here's another key ingredient. Family dinner happens no later than 5:30. Usually at 5. So dinner. We all sit down and dinner is behind us. And of course, this goes out the window when I have to when I have to be on set as an actor.
Yes.
That goes out the window. But I'm doing less of that because that 12 and 13-hour days are fucking inhumane.
Yeah, I
don't like doing those anymore.
One of the things I found isolating about it too was that nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah.
I have to imagine on Togetherness it's the same thing. You're like, oh man, these 12-hour days.
Yeah.
Oh, 12 hours of living your dream must be really difficult.
Tough, yeah.
And you're like, you don't understand soul points.
It can be tough, but I'm on the losing end of my soul points ratio.
That's a way of articulating it that helps.
Yeah, I mean, it helps me.
So you have an early din.
Early din.
Tell me why. Because you just want to...
I sleep better when the food is further from sleep, just in general. And there's something about once dinner is behind me, then the day as I know it is over. And this is all overtime, basically. You know what I mean?
Stolen time.
And I behave differently in overtime. And in our house, overtime is like making up weird songs with my kids on the piano. We are huge into Wheel of Fortune right now, the whole family. I'm teaching my kids how to play pool.
I walked
play cards.
into the Wheel of Fortune set once. That wheel is the size of that fan. It is so small.
No, it's a tiny wheel.
It'll break your heart.
Wow.
It's so small. It looks like a large game of life.
You know what? I think I love it so much that anything that's a surprise would be good to me and interesting.
Why do you love Wheel of Fortune?
I watched it when I was growing up. I felt like I was too young to watch it, and so by the time I showed up to kindergarten, my reading and spelling skills were through the fucking roof.
Really?
And I was ahead, and I stayed ahead the whole way, and I attribute it to the fucking Wheel of Fortune. I swear to God. We watched it every night, and I was there, and they were all spelling things. I didn't know what was going on, but I was watching, and I was just like picking up on it and seeing words and pulling it.
Accolades.
Yeah, and I was just... And I was ahead, and I got ahead, and I stayed ahead.
You stayed ahead because of Pat Sajak?
Pat Sajak, yes. And he was younger than I am now back then.
I remember thinking I was supposed to be attracted to Vanna White, and I wasn't. I wasn't attracted to Pat. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
She looked too...
Were your friends into her as well?
I just think we all thought we were supposed to. I think we just acted that way. Like, whoa, what a babe.
Yeah.
She's like a babe for my dad. I feel like
these are such funny years.
You have to be looking
like
back
trying
on
to
Vanna.
figure out like what are you supposed to like, and your friends like certain things. And
totally.
Such a strange.
I think the whole thing. It's like faking it till you make it. You're like the first time you see a vagina, and you're like,
yeah,
oh, it's scary. Exactly. There's a part of you that's like, I didn't know that's what all the buzz was about.
I was like a skater punk kid, when I was like 12 or something, and I remember we would watch Saturday Night Live religiously, fun, great. And
Seventh Day Advent religiously because it was on Saturday.
Yes, there you go. I don't know what it was. We thought there was going to be like one of our fun metal bands. We were like metalheads too, and Tracy Chapman was the musical guest. And it was like when she showed up, I believe, without shoes and played Fast Car for the first time.
Yeah.
And like my friends were just like, this is fucking stupid, man. And I was like, yeah, this is dumb. And like I went in the bathroom and cried for like 30 minutes. Not only because of the song, but because of the realization that like I'm living a false life, and these friends that I call my friends are like I couldn't articulate it, but I was just feeling like I'm different than these people.
Right.
And something's wrong here.
A lane change moment.
Yeah, it was a lane change moment
You're
for sure.
just like, oh, shit.
And, Tracy Chapman or Vanna White, that happened to us all.
Yeah, two different ladies.
Yeah, two different ladies.
Two different styles. So the early dinner and then the silly time.
The early dinner and then that silly time and then bedtime's real early. Like my 9-year-old's going to figure out at a certain point, like, I don't think my friends are going to bed at 7:30, but like she is a happy kid because she sleeps 12 hours a night, and I think it's really
yeah.
important. And I
slept so much as a kid. When I was at her age, I went to bed at 7:30 too. And you and Jay were in bed. I was just also alone in bed, just kind of going like, a movie where a guy, you know what I mean?
So good for you, though, man.
Right?
That's so good for you.
It's what's missing.
Yeah.
Now we really are old men, but it's like that. There isn't enough boredom time, and they have the science.
They need it. What's really interesting too is that my daughters are 9 and 5. They're 4 years apart, just like me and Jay. They sleep in the same bed. They go to sleep at the same time together, and they have their little time in bed. And I'm probably subconsciously trying to create some sort of
bond, like your brother.
Some sort of experience.
Yeah.
And my older daughter is really good to my younger daughter.
But you didn't like bond, Jay, and you didn't bond because of tumultuousness?
Really easy upbringing. My dad was a civil trial attorney, moderately successful, then like got pretty successful, like came home with like a used 911 Porsche one day, and we're like, is this who we are now? What's happening? And he's like, we're going to go to Hawaii this year. And it was like, instead of like driving to Florida 3 hours, which is what we always did.
Wow.
So never really felt like insecure financially or any of that stuff. My mom
and dad got along?
Stayed at home and took care of us. She was a school teacher, and then kind of, Southern woman stayed home and took care of her kids. And they were, we're very close with them now, and we were close with them then. I can't overly compliment them in truth and say like, boy, they really like curated our childhood and knew like just where to put us. Like we were kind of like left to be, I guess that's not a unique story for kids growing up in the 80s,
There is a lot of leaving to be.
Yeah, we were in a safe suburb called Metairie right outside of New Orleans, and so we're gone all day. They had no idea what was happening.
But that does bring us to the booze young, because there is. I have to admit,
I got that
to a certain. You're so creative. You and your brother are both so creative and intelligent. I seem to have bought into an idea. I didn't smoke pot, for example, until I was 28.
Yeah.
And I've talked to other people that were like, I'm also grateful that drugs and alcohol didn't come until later.
Yeah.
And then there's the science of like, I think it's 18, 19, your brain is fully formed, which is kind of like where we get these ideas. But, I'm excited that you are not another example of that rule, that you are saying, we went wild. We did keg stands. When did you do LSD?
We did keg stands. We did LSD. Jay didn't do as much LSD. I did. We did shrooms. We did pot.
Starting at 14?
Starting at 13, 14 for me.
13?
I was a little ahead.
What was the first experience, the first vice?
We would steal like whiskey out of my dad's bar. He didn't really drink a lot, and our grandfather was an alcoholic, so my dad kind of stayed away from it a little bit. Had the fear, am I going to go there? We didn't have that. We were protected, so I was able to fully do it without repercussion in my brain.
Right.
And then so 5th grade sleepovers, we'd sneak some, but then you start high school in 8th grade.
You're just a drunk child.
Yeah, drunk child.
No one was like, Jay and Mark just came into the kitchen, ate 3 slices of bologna and a finger of peanut butter.
Hours. This is after they're asleep. But yes, that would have been great. And then you actively going out with your friends at 13, because you start high school in 8th grade in New Orleans. And so you're with the high school kids, and it's easy to get beer.
They have a 5-year high school?
Yeah, 5-year high school.
Really?
You're a pre-freshman.
What's the idea there?
I don't understand. I don't know.
Just New Orleans being I don't know.
Just get them out. Maybe there was a gap in what the middle schools would offer or something.
Okay.
Or there's probably some reason that I don't fully understand. I went to Catholic schools.
Yeah.
And I think there's a sense among the parents there that if these kids are at a party at one of their friends' houses and they've gotten beer and are drinking that at the party, best case scenario for what could possibly be happening to them in New Orleans. So it's kind of, I don't say it's encouraged, but they're this is good.
They knew the deal.
Yeah,
We're in a wild town.
Yep.
Let's say it's on fire. At least they're having a campfire.
You got it.
They're not on fire. They're at a
Yep,
campfire.
they're at a campfire.
There's gonna be
Well
fire.
said. Well
Okay,
said.
so
Let's keep them away from Bourbon Street. Do the whole thing, and so yeah. So what that did do for me, which was interesting, and I didn't realize it until later, was like by the time I was 16, I was like a casual drinker and was very in control of alcohol, and was like, okay, well, I'm ready to start my career now. And I remember when I got to college, I went to University of Texas, followed Jay there when I was 18, and everybody was like,
you knew everybody.
letting loose. I knew everybody. Yeah,
friends.
everybody's letting loose and going crazy, and I was just like, I did that 5 years ago. Like,
I had other friends like that. It was out of
here
your
we
system.
go. I'm ready.
Oh,
I'm
you're ready?
Ready to start my career. That's what it was.
Oh, I thought you were like, I'm going to get fucked up. I had
No.
other friends that drank earlier, and almost in that European way.
That was
They
me.
got to college and they were like, oh, it's the Steve Martin line. I remember my first beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're
That's
just
it.
like, you amateurs.
Yeah, I wasn't like a cocky about it, but I could enjoy it, but I was definitely by the time I was honestly really 16, I was getting very serious about playing music shows out. I had a whole repertoire of sensitive singer-songwriter songs.
Tracy.
Tracy, Indigo Girls, Little Sean Colvin, and I.
Did you play Fast Car?
I didn't play Fast Car. I think I didn't know it then, but I think something deep inside of me was like, "You're a white male. You can't play this song. You can't do this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna put out records and I'm gonna be a singer-songwriter." That's what I was going to do. And then when I was 20, I dropped out of school for a semester, and I recorded my own CD. And I look back at this and I can't believe I pulled this off. Before internet, before anything, I would send copies of my CD to music clubs all around the country, and I booked a 4-month-long tour for myself.
It worked?
And it worked.
What was it? Was it just Mark Duplass?
It was Mark Duplass.
What
and
was
my
the name of the
record? My
album?
record was called Small Hands.
No.
Yes, it was. Which I don't know why I would admit to that now that I'm looking back. But I think the metaphor in my mind was like, you can do a lot with very little.
Yeah.
And
Trump.
yes, Trump. Yeah,
Great album.
Great album. And,
Finally.
and I lived out of the back of a van for 4 months.
Shut the fuck up. You acid-doing, whiskey-sneaking, brother-loving music man.
TiVo wearing,
Tour booking. Future director, producer, actor.
Yeah. That was my life. I was a musician like squarely until I was 25.
Get out of my
Yeah.
face.
That's all. Yeah.
You got in a van. Your parents.
My parents, my
They're off
poor
driving Porsches.
my poor fucking parent. My mother was so worried about me. I didn't have a cell phone. She had no way to get in touch with me.
I know.
I would like call her like once every 2 weeks.
Ugh.
But I was I wanted to prove to myself I could do it.
So as close as you were to Jay, you weren't codependent.
I was not codependent. I was able to go out and do my own thing. If anything,
You see, I feel like the story, if I was writing the story of you and it wasn't written yet, I would go, and he starts a band with his brother.
Yeah.
And they'll go out touring together. It's the happiest time of your life and stuff. You had something, a wolf in you, just the
there was
lone
some other
style.
thing. We started an editing business back in Austin. Jay ran the business. I went out on tour. At the collective age of 22 or something.
Your lives sound like the stories of presidents.
But
Like,
you have
it's
to
like
understand.
a myth. It's
I'm
like,
making,
and then Jay started an editing company, and I hit the road.
I hit the road.
What are you, Woodrow Wilson?
That was my chapter break. That actually might be a whole section break in the book, actually. There might be a blank page in between that and the next chapter.
The photos, the extra white
Or
pages.
just like the weird gray page that just like has nothing on it. I don't know what that is.
The one blank page.
Why do they do that?
Just to force you
We
to
need a
slow
pause.
down.
We need it's a palette. It's a mint.
You do a lot of
It's a palate
editing. It's a
cleanser.
built-in beat.
It's a
just
built-in
like
beat,
They,
yeah.
Oh, you think it's over.
Yep. Oh, it's not over. There's more book.
So what happened on the road?
It was great. I was very
lonely.
lonely. I wasn't used to being lonely because I always had Jay. It built up a lot of like confidence in me that I could do some stuff on my own, which was good. But
What would you eat?
I mean, I was awful to myself, honestly. I would only eat when the clubs would feed me, and then I would take some extra food and like sleep with it in the van that night and like eat it the next morning without it being refrigerated. I was obsessed with turning a profit, and I only dealt in cash. So if I didn't make enough money, I just like wouldn't eat. And so I had like I just lived off of like, and I remember at the end of the tour I was so proud because I had like $470.
You made a profit.
I was like,
you did something that I know comedians that try and do these types of things and can't pull it off, and it's a hot time for stand-up. Were there built-in audiences at these clubs for you?
No, there were not, and a lot of it was like I had a better than the average indie rock band, which is like a $5 cover, and someone's either coming to see you or they're not coming at all. I could play coffee shops where the coffee shop would value me enough to give me $50 and a free meal just to be backgroundy.
Right.
And so there were at least 18 people accidentally there, you know?
A sabotage.
Yes. But something, I learned a lot from that tour, and I'm just realizing this now. I learned what it meant to under-forecast and overperform as an artist, which was, I was everybody's nightmare. I was an annoyance in the corner while they're trying to talk to their friends, or they'd rather listen to Dave Matthews Band or whatever. And so I was the worst thing, and then when my songs were B-minuses, I sold no CD to them because I had this tiny, invisible little barrier to leap to success for them. And even though I only hopped over it, relatively speaking, I had soared. And they were like...
Just because you sold a CD?
Yeah, just because... But also just like they thought I was amazing and loved me because they were expecting it to be so terrible.
I see.
And so that... I carry that with me a ton now, which is like make things cheaply... You know, it shows up on Netflix, and everybody's like, "Oh, that didn't get a theatrical release and a bunch of promotion, so it must suck."
Under forecast.
Click.
Yeah.
This B+ is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. They don't even know that that's happening, but you're being graded on the curve, and I really believe in that. Like, it has
You're like
stuck
the
with me.
opposite of, not to disparage these people, but the marketing machines of like your Dane Cooks. Even Aziz is very good at marketing, and it's like, it's an event. It's Madison Square Garden. I'm wearing a suit. And you're like, no.
I'm like, if you come here, it's going to be terrible.
Right.
That's my marketing.
But even the title Jeff Who Lives at Home isn't Thunderdome.
It's not Thunderdome. It's not beyond Jeff Who Lives at Home. Even. Yeah.
And even the camera work, which is shaky.
Yeah.
I don't mean bad.
No, sure.
I just mean it's moving.
Yeah.
Handheld. Is saying like, yeah, I know, we're just kind of fucking around. And then when it's amazing and we're on the bridge at the end, you go, oh, I'm in a coffee shop buying a CD.
That's basically it.
That's the point. This is like where you should say, I shouldn't even be telling you this.
My career is over. Everybody just figured it out.
I also just mean you're giving people like a lot of experience that you got from hauling in a van for 4 months.
Yeah.
And they can just kind of pick it up. Although, to your point, how do you get the fire for your children? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because you had this fire.
I had this
fire.
fire.
How do you manufacture it? I don't understand.
You can't. Well, I've come to believe that you cannot manufacture it. You can do a lot of damage to it, and you can maybe, if you're lucky, do a little bit of positivity and some flints to the fire.
Right.
But basically, the barometer being 0, how they're born, I think you can do like 100% damage if you're not careful, or like 10 to 20% good if you're really lucky.
And what does that look like? Because it's interesting,
here's music, for example. I don't know that this is right, but I wanted to encourage music in my children. My oldest daughter she has perfect pitch. She was born a musician. She was harmonizing in the back of the car when she was 3 years old. has the thing. So
it's been waiting for you.
100%. She can do it.
Yeah, that wasn't
she'll catch the root note and just hold the root note through, and like it's amazing what she can do. Yeah. So I talked to my wife about it. I was like, "What are we going to do? How do we fix it?" You know, so we made a decision.
Kid knows the root note. What do we do?
She knows the root note. she can't even wipe her ass, and she knows the root note.
Yes.
Quiet down, Katie. And so what we decided to do was buy a bunch of musical instruments and leave them around the house and never talk about them. And that's what we did.
Really?
We put a piano in the corner. There's a drum kit in my office. There's acoustic guitars. There's a ukulele. There's a little penny whistle. The melodica, some easy ones. And then we just watched as she
melodica's a piano that you blow into.
Mm-hmm. We just watched as she slowly started to find her way over towards these instruments, and I never
if you mention it, I've had other people on the podcast, like let's say they're vegan and they want their kids to be vegan, but they don't want their kids to rebel.
Totally.
So they just kind of like eat vegan food and don't talk about it.
That's
what you're doing.
Basically. Except I'm not like playing it in front of them being like, oh, check this out.
Right.
I just let them go towards it. And it's interesting. My oldest daughter has fully taken to it, and she, plays 4 or 5 different instruments now and writes her own songs and does her thing.
Really?
She doesn't have the desperation and the fire that I have in her, which I'm kind of glad about, to be honest with you, because I've just punished myself for years. Like that van, we joke about it and me being on that tour, but like I was destroying myself.
You had a compulsion.
I had a compulsion, and I had these terrible injuries in my arms throughout my 20s from just playing big acoustic guitars for years tenaciously. You're gonna finish this song. You're gonna stay up for 4 hours, and you're gonna do it. And
so it's almost like you
bad.
wouldn't. It's like dads that go, "I wouldn't want you to do what I do." That's what my dad does, and I'm like, "You always seem so happy, and you love your work," and he's just like, "I wouldn't wish it on you."
Yeah, step inside. Let me show you this thing.
Step inside. It's not what it looks like.
Yes. So this is a little area we call soul points. And you hear that alarm going off?
So your hope is that she can enjoy it without the compulsion.
Yeah, and that she will find some healthy level of, this is my desire and this is what I want to do and I will go for this, but maybe not at the expense of everything.
Well, that's what...
And my own physical well-being.
Both Elizabeth Gilbert and Rob Bell. How to Be Here is the book that I said you might like, and Big Magic is the Elizabeth Gilbert.
My mom's reading that right now.
It's good.
I recommended it to her without having read it. I was like, I think you're going to like this.
It's and this isn't to disparage any book that's trying to help artists. It's basically what The Artist's Way said. Mm-hmm. Did you read The Artist's Way? Mm-hmm. And then it just like... We're all just kind of kicking around these same sort of ideas. That's not to disparage it. But they say, but in both of those books, these people write, you think your happiness lies in making a living at what you love doing, but oftentimes it could ruin it, or it just won't be what you expect.
Yeah.
You turn it into... You're loving playing the guitar, and then you turn it into maybe a tour where you're eating cold chicken fingers in the morning, which maybe...
100%. It's not the worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst thing in the world. It actually kind of sounds very free.
No, but I had a much worse compulsion in driving, and I would just, I wouldn't allow myself to enjoy any moment, really. Jay and I would be at the Sundance Film Festival with our first feature premiering, and it was incredible, and it was great. And it was time to go back to the hotel, and I would, ask for a writing session for the next hour and a half, and, not let us go to sleep until we, came up with this thing. And it was like, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing, man?
Well, it's interesting because you said in your joy point thing, soul points, you enjoy your kids. And I love Jeff Who Lives at Home, which I've already referenced. And that movie seems to have a lot to do with the wonder of being present.
Yeah.
The gift you give yourself in being present. And I don't want to be crabby or bratty, but I was like, I wonder if my father ever said... I just like getting up early so I can enjoy the boys. And I have a guess.
I'm guessing
and it rhymes with no. Yeah. it's just no. My dad did what he did, but here we are. It's a different time. It's whatever. Blah,
different
blah,
generation.
Blah, blah, and everybody's doing the best they can. But here we are. Now I'm looking back on other things, and I'm trying to be very deliberate to enjoy. I'm walking around New York, and we're filming Crashing, and I just almost wrote a poem in my head about try and see with the eyes of before.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about 9-year-old Pete. I'm talking about 29-year-old Pete. I'm just like, you shut down McDougal Street.
Yeah.
Feel it.
Yeah.
And one of the problems is it takes energy to feel it. Although I did have a friend of mine, David Nichtern, who did this podcast. He's a big Buddhist meditator guy. And I was like, it's exhausting being present all day.
Yeah.
And he said, that's only if you're pushing against something.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So he was like, the real presence is effortless.
Yeah.
You can't be trying. You need to surrender to however you're feeling all the time.
Yeah.
But being present somehow, I don't have it figured out.
I don't have it figured out. The times when I am truly present is very rarely the result of effort. It's usually luck. It's usually
you trick yourself.
Oh my god! It's 5:42. I got done with work early. I'm on beer 1.5. The sun is setting behind my wife.
Nearly 2 drinks.
Yeah,
have you seen that sketch?
No.
There's a sketch about nearly 2 drinks.
Okay,
and that's the perfect amount of alcohol.
It is. It's perfect.
Nearly 2 drinks.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh god, peace has descended on my body, and all of my senses are connected to this moment. I'm not thinking about my work tomorrow. I'm not.
Right.
I'm just right here. Oh God, that's so great. I wish I could
Hold on.
figure out a way to manufacture this and how to get this.
Right.
And that's what this whole workout and sauna and pool and
Right.
my 9 to 4
Well, that's
schedule,
what
it's all aimed at that.
First got very excited is when we come out of the hot-cold combo, I'm right there with Valerie.
Yeah.
I'm able to go, look at,
I'm sure she senses that.
What do you mean?
She senses your presence
Absolutely.
in a way that's just...
It's. I'm sure your kid said.
Yeah.
You know, that's the closest I have to a kid. Is I have a witness there that's my wife, and I go, oh, I'm here, and she goes, oh, you're here, and she was there because she doesn't have the compulsion either, the obsessive.
Is she just naturally present?
She just
I had a
is
couple
like
of
very. You
friends.
said downstream.
Yeah.
If that means what I think, I mean she's a very downstream person.
Yeah.
She's kind of relaxed, and if she worries about anything, it's that she's not worried enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my job, I feel like as her partner, is to like just kind of protect that. And
Yeah.
be like, you don't understand. That's great. I'm not saying that to sound cool. Like, stay there.
You are a unicorn,
Yes.
so let's not take off your horn.
Nobody wants a unicorn wearing a saddle.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? No, because they're not beasts of burden. They're beasts of majesty.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. I have an old close friend and roommate of mine who was born on July 7, 1977. Straight sevens. And
He's a limo company.
And there's this subconscious feeling to him that the universe will take care of him. And because he believes it that way, they have an unspoken pact, and the universe does take care of him. And he floats gently through the world and feels everything he touches, and he never has a lot of money or stuff,
Right.
and he is so wonderfully happy. And
Is that kind of a Jeff thing?
it is kind of a Jeff thing.
Because you
know?
have the Ed Helms character with the fancy car, and he's getting in his own way.
Yeah.
And then there do seem to be those quieter people that might seem like losers because they're not interested in the game that people are winning or losing.
Yeah.
They're just opting out a little bit.
I will say this. I don't know how you feel. I am learning to become grateful for my years of compulsion because that engine has built something for me, you know, in particular. Like, I don't have any more, like, logistical mountains I need to climb. Like, I need to make this amount of money to be comfortable. I need to, like, do this so that, like, I can get success
satisfied.
and have, you know, I've got those things kind of covered, and that came out of that crazy driven time.
Right.
So
I wonder how. Yes.
I'm trying. I'm like a little bummed about it because like I actually did some physical damage to my body through those years, and I kind of aged myself a little bit, I think. But I'm also trying now to just be grateful and be like, whoa, 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 whoa! You stockpiled a bunch of life stuff here,
Right.
And have now afforded yourself the ability to hang out in an infrared sauna should you choose,
Right.
which is nice. Not just economically, everything. You know?
I'm surprised. It takes effort because I know successful people that are miserable.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like you might agree. I'm surprised that it's not that feeling of I got the things that I needed. I needed to do stand up. I need to be a comedian. I need to be able to headline. I need all this stuff. It does. I am grateful.
Yeah. Did you get everything you wanted out of being a comedian?
What do you mean?
Did you get as far as you wanted to go
As a stand-up?
As a stand-up?
That's interesting. Nobody's asked me that. I think so.
Yeah.
I feel very happy with my level of involvement in the stand-up world.
Yeah.
I'm aware that they're not like Louis, Burr, Holmes. No one's
Yes.
ever said that.
Yeah.
People who love me. And I feel like this is right up your alley. I love me.
Yeah.
I'm the comedian that I go, that's what I'm going
that's
for.
huge.
Yeah, that's that. But that's that
That's big.
second half of life wisdom where you're like,
Yeah.
I'm doing the jokes that I would laugh
I
at if
should
I
be
were in
doing
the crowd.
these things. Yeah.
And
That's
I don't
really great.
I don't see other people doing that exact thing.
I have a similar perspective, but a little different, which is I think I view my success in the film and TV world very much the way you're viewing your level of success in the stand-up world, where it's like, of course, there are people that are just like going to be the household names above where I'm at.
Right.
And would that be kind of cool? It sounds cool. That'd be kind of awesome.
Well, it's not Wes Anderson,
Yeah.
or whoever, Spike Jones,
all that
Wes
stuff,
Anderson,
yeah.
Duplass brothers.
Yeah.
You're
We're
where I
in
am.
this other space.
It's
Yeah.
not one for one that you're where I am.
But
I
similar.
think you guys are huge and amazing. But Mike Birbiglia blows my mind. You know Mike?
God, I love Mike.
He blows my mind. I talk to him.
I love him so much.
I hope he doesn't mind. Yeah, he won't mind. He says that he tells people he's where he wants to be, and no one believes him.
Yeah.
And I feel like, is that kind of what you're saying? It's
I don't get that no one believes me. I am definitely where I want to be.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
And part of that is relative to how far I ever thought I could be. I'm about 1,000 times further than I ever thought. And that's no false modesty or anything. I thought, God, if one day I could just like play a live show and make money off of it, or get to Sundance and just have a movie there, not even sell it.
Right.
I am like 75 more mountains I have climbed beyond the top that I ever thought I'd get to.
Right.
So I could see how it could be like a little cooler or something if I had more things.
Right.
But I'm definitely the guy who's looking around and just being like, HBO pays me to make shows and Netflix pays me to make movies. Oh my God. I can't believe that.
You've exceeded your own expectations.
100%.
Yes.
And that keeps me comfortable.
And Room 104, am I getting the number right? There's number anxiety in any of the shows with numbers.
Know, so much.
And on the way in, I was like, I got to talk about Room 203.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's on the first floor. I should know it has to be a 1.
You know what? It's not easy.
It's a production wet dream, I have to think.
It is a production wet dream.
And I wonder how much... Season 2, again, it was a joy for the most part. I had low moments.
Yeah.
But, I remember on the first day, we're on location 1. You know when you're at the beginning of a season, you're like, we're in location 1, scene 1, page 1, day 1, and you're like, fuck!
Yeah. Yep. Any little bit of tiredness you have or anxiety is so amplified because you realize, I'm going to have to carry it the whole way.
And you're already kind of tired in the first... I have to imagine you've experienced that 100%. A million times. And
you're in debt and you just started the race. Yeah. It's so not good for the soul points.
And then,
not good.
And then I see you going... I kind of call it like the Whitney Cummings move. Whitney had all these projects and then Two Broke Girls... So that's like the network version of going, I'm going to produce something. You did something even cooler. You correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't be location scouting.
Nope. I don't want to do that because I'll miss dinner at 5 o'clock.
So you made this show in a hotel. It's a hotel?
It's a motel.
It's a motel.
Yep.
I never it's because you park in front of it.
Yeah, motor court.
Motor court. Ooh, learning. It's one location.
Yep.
It's actor bait. James Vanderbeek is going to want to do it because it's exciting. It's short.
And it's 2 to 3 days an episode, so get them in and out.
2 to 3 days. We can even work with scary children.
Yes. I can experiment with different genres because they all realistically happen in a motel room setting.
It reminds me of the type of... I have a very vivid memory of being a kid and being in the parking lot of a restaurant by a highway and going, we could film a movie here.
Yeah.
Remember that childlike feeling where you're like, every corner of any room was like, imagine what could happen.
Full of the stories.
And you go like a child.
I'm going to do this.
Childlike, not childish. You go, I'm going to imagine the many things that could happen. I wonder if the guy that made Black Mirror watches that and is like, shit.
I think he's doing okay.
No, I know.
His show is wildly successful.
No, that show is also amazing.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It looks, every episode is a different movie. And you're like, what can we do with 2 pieces of bread and some peanut butter?
That's been my MO forever, and it's what I really believe in. It's part of the under forecast and overperform thing. It's partially,
so much
I tried to get like very dialed in about keeping the costs extremely low for HBO so that
to be an appealing show.
Yeah, to be an appealing show, to stay on the air if my ratings are not perfect.
Right.
If you're cheap and you're on a Friday night when it's kind of a free night, then hey, you just stay on the air.
This is that Birbiglia thing where it's like you don't want to be the lead into Game of Thrones or whatever. I don't want it. You want... See, what Mike is saying is you don't understand. I could have a show on this or this. I could do this type of... He's like, I want to do one-man shows. I want to film them, and I want to make a movie that is right from my heart. And that is...
It is really smart.
A chase for fulfillment rather than getting your dick sucked in a jacuzzi. And you know what I'm saying?
And he's going to live a long creative life because of that, in my humble opinion, because he's keeping his soul points way, 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 way up.
Points. But
I see these people go on these amazing runs for 10 years and make this incredible stuff, and then they just make garbage. And I think part of that is because they just either burn out or they start franchising themselves because they're addicted to what people like about them or whatever it is. And I want to live a long creative, happy, healthy life. It's very important to me.
Right.
And
how important is it to you that people like? So David Nichtern, the Buddhist, I had dinner with him while we were shooting, and I was talking about creating something else, and I was like, I think people, I don't know if I want to do this other thing that we were talking about, but I think people would like it. And he went, ugh. Yeah. Ugh. And I was like, oh, he's right. Yeah. It wasn't crashing. It's this other idea. And he was like, what do you care? Not in that like cool sunglasses in the back of the bus way, like real fulfillment. Yeah. And so is that
the only
you and Birbiglia seem to have that in common?
The only part that someone liking my stuff can add to true fulfillment is that there have to be enough people there to like it and watch it so I can keep making it. Yeah. That's really the critical thing. Right. And so I do check. Like I'll be like, a week after we premiered, let me check Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm like, we're 85%. We're good. Then that's all I need is just to be like in the space where HBO will continue to renew me. And I'm doing more things now, like really protecting myself.
Is Room 103 85?
Yeah, 85. Yeah,
around there. I would have think it was definitely in the 90s.
Yeah,
it's like who watches that and like has a really sour reaction to it. I don't understand.
We might be in the 90s by now. Honestly, that was early on.
Sure.
Let's just say we're in the 90s, and I'll never look.
Yeah.
That feels great.
That's
all I need.
I can honestly promise you, I will never Rotten Tomatoes. How's Room 103 doing?
Yeah,
I never. Will.
So. Another thing I've really tried to get into, and this is maybe a little boring, but I think it's important, is when I made Room 104, it was reverse engineering a show that could be made so cheaply so that I could own it and license it to HBO. And
you paid it,
and I own the show.
You fronted the money of the production? I make the show,
and then they license it from me.
Like some people do that with like stand-up specials.
Yes.
You're not letting Michael Jackson take your Beatles catalog.
100%. And so part of it is like, ownership, and that's cool. But if HBO decides, I don't want to make your show anymore, like they did with Togetherness, they own my show. So it just stays there. But like with Room 104, I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just have somebody else show it. It's putting myself in that space. And Mike is very good with that, too.
Was that a lesson you learned because Togetherness ended?
It's a lesson I've been doing in the film space for years. Yeah. But I could never... TV shows are just so expensive to make. I could never come up with a model where I could actually afford it until I was like, what about a motel room show where I just write one-act plays, which is what I like to do anyway.
Right.
And then I was like, yes, now I can do this and own it and stay in control
How
of it.
good was that kid? How happy were you when you found that kid in the first episode?
Incredible.
So frightening.
Yeah.
Because it is interesting. It's almost like Hitchcockian in that way, where it's like the things that scare us can be as simple as birds. You know what I mean?
100%.
It doesn't have to be... I mean, that's just a fucking clown.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it goes back to me on the road going, a movie could happen here.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really exciting.
Yeah. And I just, again, creatively... I just know I'm at my happiest when I am not. I look up and I see like John Mellencamp is going to play live at Staples, and he has to get up there and he has to sing "Hurt So Good" and smile, and that just destroys me. And as much as I love making Togetherness, season 2 of Togetherness was me trying to sing my hit song from an album ago. And feeling like I'm starting to move past this thing, and I don't know what I'm going to do.
That's why, I thought
and
maybe...
it's not play.
I thought maybe you walked away from Together.
We didn't walk... No, I'd love to be like, hey, we walked away. Yeah. No, it was...
that was what I thought, actually.
Yeah, no, the true answer is they called and were like, look, we're not sure what's happening here. We're trying to figure out what's going on. And I was like, you already bought all the scripts for season 3, and you told us we were making a season, so I don't understand what's happening.
You had already written it.
And then all of a sudden, like, the head of HBO was gone, and there was a big rigmarole, and I think what just happened is they're like, oh, we're going to have a show called Divorced that is kind of about this stuff, but it has Sarah Jessica Parker, so let's just get rid of the other one.
I see.
And, I had a really awesome, honest conversation with the heads of HBO when it happened, and we were like, look, because they were taking about a week to tell us whether they wanted to pick up or not, and we were like, look, we're not going to tell you that we actually absolutely have to have this show and beg you for it, because like there's a part of us when we think about getting canceled that starts to like gleefully giggle at all the freedom that's coming to us.
Yeah.
If you want to
You're
do
back
it,
in the
we
vein.
can't pass it up, and we're going to have to do it. And it was half written at the time. We were almost there. And then when they canceled this, it was, I mean, Jay and I looked at each other and we were just like, oh my God.
Because you were back in the sandbox?
We were free. And we were back in the sandbox, and it was incredible.
So
it felt so good.
You felt trapped in the second season. You were Cougar Mellencamping it?
I wasn't phoning it in, but I was sensing how I was tethered to this thing that had its own life and its own rhythms, as we were talking about before.
Formula has negative connotations, but it had a feel.
But it was getting there.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to. So like any little kid who's telling me I have to be that, I was just trying to like rebel against and spike out and do other things. And so I think it's just knowing me personally, you know, just the anthological form of Room 104. It's just like, pick it up. New story every night. New people. Pick it up. Pick up.
And animals.
And animals, same way, too.
Also limitless.
Limitless is what it can be. And
Yeah.
fun, you know.
Right. So for you, Soul Points has a lot to do with being able to free to move, as we say.
Free to move around.
Any direction.
Yeah.
You could do an episode. I keep calling it Room 103. It's 104.
It is 104.
And you didn't correct me, and I appreciate
But by the way,
that.
Room 103, who knows?
It would be a cross.
It would be a cross. Yes. Yes. We'd blow everybody's minds with the first episode. Where like you're on the front door of Room 104 and you roll over and it's like Room 103 and they're like Room 105? 6? What?
It's like a street.
Flip around.
But you could. It's funny that you say that. It has that Twilight Zone thing where you could zoom out and the hotel was on the flea of a dog, and
Wonderful.
it doesn't matter.
Yep.
But that's got to feel really good.
It's very, very liberating. It's very connected to the 9-year-old creativity that you're talking about.
What is going on up here? There's like nap pads and there's guitars and stuff. How do you hack into your own creativity
So
here?
this is my creative space. We're in 800 square feet of a pitched attic.
Pitched.
And I have what I call my regression chamber right over Pete's right shoulder.
With a Super Nintendo. Oh, that's a regular Nintendo.
Records and Nintendo.
Goonies on VHS.
And Goonies on VHS, but also some Steven Seagal movies if we want. I rarely play those things. I just like that they're there. I actually am not the guy who does all that.
I would believe that you weren't allowed in this area.
Yeah.
Like it's like an art installation.
Yeah.
Because it's awesome that I'm looking at Stripes. Just seeing VHS.
I ordered them on eBay in bulk. Like
just people's collections.
People's collections, because I wanted to have them.
That's amazing.
And then behind me we have 4 mats that in my mind I was like, oh, that's where I'll dream creatively. I've never used them, and I think I will never use them. I lay on this couch because it's comfortable. And then,
there's that mat, and there's Post-its above it.
Yeah, that's my kids' creative section. They come with me to work sometimes on like Saturday.
Okay,
because they just love it here. There's snacks and
it's funny that the details of your workspace, you can see your mission statement is like, we need to stay like kids.
Yes.
It feels, like you said, you come up here, you smoke pot.
I'm having a sense of you that's probably, maybe I'm projecting, but like, you're like very affable and you're good with humor and all this stuff. But like,
whenever you do this, I'm like, oh no.
I think you might take yourself very seriously, like I take myself very seriously.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
In some regard, like
that's
I'm
true.
very thoughtful about my life and I'm like,
and my silliness.
I take it all like it's of great importance to me, you know.
Yes.
And so I actually have to actively, I don't want to say fight against it, but encourage the goofy, silly side of me.
I don't think anybody's baking in a sauna and jumping in a cold pool, which is what you and I are doing.
Yeah.
Unless they're like very serious.
Really into them.
Do you take your temperature all the time?
No, no.
Oh, I do.
To see if you're sick.
No. I mean, metaphorically,
spiritually speaking,
every way.
Oh yes,
Valerie.
100%.
One of the things that I'm glad that she enjoys it. She's like, my father. I never knew what was going on. He was like a hairy, not a monster, but like a Sesame Street monster.
A mystery.
And I never knew how
save
he
you
felt.
in your relationship with your dad there. Yeah.
What's that?
I'm just trying to save that relationship and call it a mystery for you. Yeah.
But I've counteracted some of that behavior. I didn't like not knowing how my dad felt.
Yeah.
And as a result, if you ask me at any moment, except during this podcast, I really am just talking to you and trying to be a space for you and for us. But most of the time I can tell you how I feel and 9 theories on why I feel that way. It can be exhausting, so I don't broadcast it all the time.
Yeah.
But do you relate to that?
100%. And it's interesting because I relate to my kids in a way that I didn't think I was going to relate to them growing up, which is I am an oversharer of my feelings with them. I thought good parenting in my brain, it was just put all your attention on them, listen to them, hear them, validate them, and you have to do that. But unless you are actively sharing your stuff and your troubles with your children, you will actually have no intimacy with them.
That's well said.
And so I am dumping things onto my children.
Right.
I'm like, just last night, I was putting them down to sleep, and they're like, Dad, can we have a story tonight? And I was like, I don't think I have it in me. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I've made up so many stories. I feel like it's not going to be a good one, and you guys are going to be disappointed in me because I made a bad story. And also my neck is killing me right now, and I kind of want to get you guys to bed and just get in my room and read my book, And they sense that, like, kind of
realness,
semi-dad failure in me.
Oh, I see.
And they put me in the bed, and they put their stuffed animals all around me, and they rubbed my neck, and we told a story where I didn't have to tell the whole story. I would just make it up, and then when I couldn't get anywhere, I would touch one of their noses, and they would take over the story. And they got empowered, and I was like, Jesus, why do we fake anything? Why do we have to be so strong? And just give it up.
That story.
So the more I do that with my kids, that's where our intimacy actually comes from.
It's funny that you said. So I get a text from my dad, and he's kind of saying, like, I wish we would talk more or whatever. And my problem, and I love my dad, I would say this if he were here, although I don't know if he would hear it, is that sometimes when we talk, I just feel like he's interviewing me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to reply.
That's how he's showing his interest. It's in some way, but it's
just
not...
data collection.
Yeah.
How's that? Yeah, not even how's that. He's just like, he'd go like, a good example of my dad would go like, Peter, what's a good quality of a director? And now I just go, what do you think a good quality of a director is? And he goes, decisiveness. And I realized he just wanted to tell me.
Yeah.
So he'll go,
well, that's good.
Pete, is Jeff, he calls Jeff. Is Jeff decisive? And I just go, what do you think, Dad?
Yeah.
It's like a weird game I play.
He must be. Please tell me he is.
Yeah. And I just go like, is he? You tell me if he is. Do you think he is?
Yeah.
So when he said, like, I wish we would talk more or whatever, I said, Dad, I would love to have more of a relationship, but I think it would take a level of listening and vulnerability that we've never had.
Have you said that to him?
I texted it to him.
Oh, good.
And I don't know, and I love my dad, and I know he means it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he knows what I mean. Yes. And when you told me that story, that is maybe something I would tell him.
Yeah.
It might heal us a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying, like, it's okay to be honest with me. I've said to him point blank, Dad, your dad years are done. Let's be peers. Like, just talk to me.
That's
and I've said many times one of the reasons I do this podcast is so I won't be hiding from my children won't be an option.
Yeah.
They'll be able to absorb every doubt, every weird thing in this. I'm glad you say that because I often wonder if it'll bite me in the ass.
Oh, God, do they want to feel you? I mean, it depends on the DNA of the kid a little bit and depends on who you are. But you're going to be a person who is in a public profile, and if there's any danger, it's going to be, fuck, am I ever going to be as good and as successful as Dad is? I'm intimidated by him. Right. So the more openness and buffoonery you can offer to them, like, they are going to take great delight in that.
Openness and buffoonery.
It's the key to intimacy, in my opinion.
Yes. Well, not to make this about me, but Valerie, who was impressed when we met by the things I had done, now that we live together and she's seen the dry spells and the plateaus.
Yes.
And the low days and the just like, I'm going to draw the blinds and watch movies because I have 0 soul points.
Yeah.
She loves the demystification of what can sometimes... I'm getting this from you. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
You're so articulate. You're so creative. But I know it's helpful to know that there's days where you go, I can't tell the story to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not your child.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good.
It's like a danger, I think, in, dare I say, America, to do things that garner people's respect as opposed to their just feeling close to you and understanding you.
It's the bits that you think they don't want that's probably what they're after.
It's kind of the thing.
The imperfections.
I spent a lot of time and I still fall prey to this. A film festival wants me to come and teach the young kids how to make movies, and I give this rousing speech confidently with very little room for error and stories of my own error about like what the path is and driving it,
Yeah.
And it's good and it's inspiring and helpful, but I always walk away being like, maybe I should have just told them about all the times I had all that self-doubt.
Right.
I think that might be better.
Right. What is the right mix of vulnerability and inspiration?
Yeah.
That's actually one of the things I feel when I watch Tony Robbins. Sorry to keep bringing it up, but he's at such a high peak level. He's just like, I want to feel joy and ecstasy always. And I'm like, that's interesting. This is weird. Maybe it's because I'm Irish. I like that sometimes I'm depressed. It's not that I enjoy it when I'm in it necessarily, but I like that I can talk to you about it.
It's so great that you can feel that way. It took me a long time to get there to be able to, because I was afraid of it. And I do have like a depressious and anxious side to my personality that it is worth being afraid of because it can spin me out. So I wasn't able to like be comfortable in it for a long time.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I don't like it.
But
I don't know if there was a switch that said you'll never feel anxiety, you'll never feel depression, you'll never feel despair. I don't know if it would make very good art if we couldn't, like your character in Togetherness.
Totally.
I deeply related to that guy, and I actually was very. Sorry if it's weird, but you made it weird. Proud of you. I was like, look at this guy. You're a cool guy. You're a cool, creative guy.
Right.
And you put on these glasses and the hair, and I was going, I know this guy, and you wrote it.
Yeah.
And you chose that guy.
Yeah. I didn't get laid off of Togetherness, actually. I did not. And that's okay. That's okay. I got a lot of hugs.
You gave voice to a division of men that need hugs.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks for saying that. Yeah.
And then, sometimes I ask the greatest lesson. It's just like a speed round thing. It's not speed round. But the greatest lesson about acting, and before you say listening, every actor says listening.
React.
Here's why I won't accept listening from you, even though I know that's a huge part of acting. You're interesting. You're an interesting actor. Mm-hmm. You, what's it called? Chair? Puffy chair. Puffy chair. You in Puffy chair, eating cereal and kind of saying a line to a guy, I found the chair on eBay. There's something else going on other than just listening. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's interesting to watch. And sometimes when I'm in crashing and I have to like wake up or go to bed or brush my teeth, Pacino and De Niro and all these guys doing these things alone, very interesting. Al Pacino eating a bagel, you're just kind of like, well, I'm looking at this guy. Do you have any sense, maybe not to intellectualize it, but how you get into a space of comfortability to be an interesting actor, to be a real raw actor?
I don't. I really appreciate the compliment. I doubt sometimes that I am that interesting doing those kinds of things, but I'm glad to hear that it does at least work for you.
Interesting. Safety Not Guaranteed, very interesting. The first time I met you, I didn't even know you were a producer, director, writer, and you produced that movie. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, you really stole that movie. I literally said that to you. I was like, that was
yourself.
I know. That's what I was like. I gave you, this is verbatim, because later I was embarrassed. I went, that was your movie. And I was like, it was his movie. I thought you were an actor, gun for hire.
You just came up with a lot of feeling and told me a fact.
Exactly. You might as well have been the producer of that movie, man. But that's like an interesting character. And another character that could have been not very three-dimensional or sympathetic. But like you really, it breaks my heart when he realizes the jig is up. And
I mean, my feeling is that like if I have like some secret powers as an actor, it mostly stems from me being a writer first and just being extremely aware of story. And no matter who I'm with or what they're telling me, if I can't get there with my intentions, I will change the words. Even if the writer and the director are like, don't change the words. I'm like, I'm going to change the words to make this moment truthful. I'm sorry.
That's so funny. I also improvise because the best moments, we're editing right now.
Yeah.
And whenever I go, I was just interested in myself.
Yeah.
It's because I was trying to think of a way to say it.
Yeah.
It's like you improvise because you're not that great of an actor. I'm not saying
My
that
words
about
help
you.
me.
I'm saying that like
But I kind of feel that way.
and there's
I use
so
the
many
words.
there's so many scenes where I go, that surprises me because like I just say that
Yes.
surprises
That
me.
surprises
Or
me.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like
Another truth.
because I wrote it.
Yeah.
And I'm going in this scene. My character is surprised and didn't expect them to say that. So sometimes you do just say it, and you're saying the same.
I think that's part of it. And then I think, this is me patting myself on the back, maybe a little bit, but I think that I am, as you are, I can tell as a person already, I am tremendously interested in individuals. I just love people. I'm obsessed with them. So I'm just constantly scanning them, looking in their eyes, hearing them laugh and know that, they're covering something up. I'm just obsessed with it.
Right.
So I think that
The game.
what that does is I'm known amongst my peers and my friends as like the chemistry generator. Is like he may not be the greatest actor in the bunch, but like you put him in a room with anyone, and there's going to be amazing chemistry no matter who it is. Because he's obsessed with people, and he finds something in there, and he pulls it out of them.
As we're having this bromance, I get the compliment. The podcast, a lot of people comment, like people will say about this episode. Listen to Mark and Pete realizing they're best friends.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot, and I bet that would happen a lot for you if you had a podcast, because there is a certain type of person that goes, even though we might not agree about everything, I can find the things, our common ground,
and
we'll build a house
You can
there.
genuinely get lit up by that, and get some of that Tony Robbins high joy, passion. It's so weird that he says that, because I honestly, my life is full of big spikes and enjoyment and excitement. My kids make this cool piece of art, and oh my god, that was so cool! And I throw them in the pool, and I don't need to find that. That comes to me all over the place, and I have those nice deep lows with the depression, and that does enrich me. And I agree with you. I probably wouldn't get rid of it. The thing that I can't get to is kind of what we were talking about earlier. Is that beer and a half peace and presence is very tough for me to find,
right?
And I'm working towards that.
I think that's one of the contradictions that I wouldn't say struggle with, that I'm aware of, is that like I am this happy, present, vibrant person who does want to drink a lot.
Yeah.
I don't get like shit house, but like when I come home, if I'm not drinking, it's because I went no.
Yeah, you stopped.
I stopped myself. Yeah. It's hard for me to know that pot is an option.
Yeah.
And go like, no, if I don't have anything to do. Because I go like, I don't have anything to do. We might as well like light the curtains on fire.
You can, and by the way, and I'm betting if you're like me, you're like, I could go to therapy and dig into this and unearth something, but it's not that unhappy, and it's a decent part of my life.
Right.
Do I just leave this and just allow it to be a slight contradiction? Or do I need to actually go transcend this thing?
How many creases are we going to iron out?
I mean, come on. I don't touch.
I'm not a flag.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm a quilt.
It's fine. I totally agree with you on that.
So that's acting. What about writing? What's a great lesson you've learned about writing?
It's just like kind of tied to the Malcolm Gladwell Blink thing, which is you really, really need to watch as many movies as you possibly can multiple times so that your body understands movie structure, and then turn your brain off and jump in and just let someone else drive. And that's what I do. And that's what I do.
You
with
mean let someone else
104.
drive with your brain, your subconscious,
with your subconscious,
right.
and just let it go. When I wrote the Ralphie episode of Room 104, I was like, I'm just bringing this girl into the door, and the kid in the bathroom will not come out, and I have no idea if this is going to be funny or scary or anything, and I'm just going to literally like, Inigo in Princess Bride, guide my sword, father, and just go.
You filled such a gap for me. I always say flying the kite into the black hole.
Yeah,
or clean antenna.
Yeah.
You're just trying to receive the song.
But also like it's a little more vigilant and active for me because
that's why that's better.
I'm listening for things, and I'm trusting that like something is telling me this first thing this person should do is sing the Zestfully Clean song. I don't know why, but I'm going to trust that
and
know that either my brain knows that you're going to bring it back for the bookend,
Right.
or I'll just reverse engineer it and throw it there.
Right.
Either one, I don't care. It's fine.
It's interesting that your brain effortlessly and naturally creates dreams, and dreams can often be nonsense. But there's no.
It's wonderful.
There
to
was
me.
no meeting that your brain was like, tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to be on a hovercraft, and your principal is going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, it just does it in real time, and they're pretty compelling.
There are dramatically usually pretty great.
Right. So that's just a flow state, and you're trying to be there.
I had a dream about Tom Petty last night.
Did you?
Yeah. He wasn't there, but I was singing Free Fallin' on my acoustic guitar, trying to get a group of people to kind of listen to it who were sitting just beyond me. And we all sang Free Fallin' together, and it was magical.
Right. And it's being written as the A is on the page, the A is being said. There was no rehearsal for the dream.
Yeah. So that's the writer portion for me, is tapping in the subconscious and trust.
I think that's great. Why do you know, like, consuming media, reading books, whatever it might be, is helping you maybe write a movie and write a book?
Oh my God. Right. I am a writer today because of the 7 to 8 movies that I saw 50 times in the
What
mid-80s.
are they?
It's weird, but like they're more of like a little more heartfelt than like actual kid movies. Like Karate Kid was about as kid movie as I would get, you know.
It has kid in it.
But I was obsessed with Kramer versus Kramer for whatever reason. I just loved that movie, and I watched it and baked that structure into my brain. And I watched, I did watch Romance in the Stone a bunch over and over again, and I just find that is the best film school for me, is to have your body intrinsically understand dramatic structure and not your brain.
Right.
And just rub those movies all over you.
Heart, not head.
Like biofreeze.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's why a lot of great stand-ups love stand-up.
Yeah.
And they watched it. And it got in before, like Indiana Jones, before that wall came down.
That's why I watch movies on VHS, is because I have an opinion now that if a movie is digitized and in widescreen, the subconscious part of myself will watch it as a filmmaker, because that's how I watch movies now. But I watched these things on a solid state TV on VHS before I was a filmmaker.
Pan and scan?
Pan and scan. And I'm trying to trick my body into being 9 years old, just receiving a movie again.
That's so funny, because that was always this idea I had for Jed. I was like, Jed has what he needs, material-wise. And I'm not going to do this, and he won't. I don't think he'll hear this. But I always had this birthday idea for him, which was to basically set up a TV like that, because I knew he was never happier than watching MASH on a TV like that.
It's beautiful.
And he did that every day. I think he's spoken about this. You know, come home from school, let himself in, watch hours of comedy, drama, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was getting into, like you said, the body, not just his head.
Yeah.
But blissed out in a way that I can't speak for him, but I know I have a hard time reconnecting.
Oof. You're going to hard cut out on reconnecting, aren't you? I think you have to. Hard time reconnecting. Dun, 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 dun,
Zestfully
dun,
Clean.
Zestfully Clean, and Toto's Africa playing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize the opening. Of course. Have you seen those two guys in the coffee shop kill Africa?
No.
To nobody?
No. Well, I guess
YouTube it. It's so good. It's these two guys. I can't ruin it for you. It's these two guys with two guitars, and they play Toto's Africa better than anything you've ever heard, except maybe Toto.
Yeah.
And at the end, you realize it's like a punchline that there's 4 people
no
watching.
one there.
It's
But they
you.
crush it.
They play it like they said, we're going to kill your family if you don't play Toto perfectly right now. And they did. Let's see. What about collaborating? I'm sure people ask you about, do you fight with your brother? And we kind of already touched that. But like, I'm interested in, what's it like working with another person?
I'm really into it right now. A couple of reasons. I do have a legitimate fear of I feel like I've been on a almost 15-year creative run where I at least am happy with what I'm making. And so it feels like I'm due for a dry spell or something like that. I feel like it's coming. It should be coming. And so now for me, the answer to not getting the yips, as it were, is to invite young, really smart filmmakers into my collaborative fold where I can offer them like Judd does for you,
yeah.
like all these an executive producer platform,
Right.
and they can make me feel inspired and new, and
Right.
and that's what Room 104 is all about. Like I specifically wrote 7 of the episodes, but didn't direct any of them, so that I could see what happens if I have this other person direct the material, and it was exciting for me because the truth is, I'm a more experienced director than all of them, and maybe. A more experienced filmmaker overall, probably. But the willingness that they had to prepare that I don't have anymore, and to see this as their shot and be grateful, and the joy they brought to it for me, not only made the episodes, I think, better than if I had directed them, at the very least different, probably better, but the soul bucket came way up. Less expenditure for me.
Today, Mark, I said I was watching some of the episodes, and they're so well directed. And it's always been kind of a topic, like, does Pete want to direct? Is he going to want to direct? And I was always like, well, maybe season 3. Because season 2, I felt like a little bit more Ram Drive.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe I could.
Yeah.
And just today, I was like, I watched a cut of somebody's episode, and it was so good. And it brought exactly what you're saying. There was a vitality and a freshness and a will to prepare. And I was like, no. I can't.
No. And by the way, it's so great you've come to that, because I really have lately, like in therapy, I talk a lot about like we like, she's like my like life coach in some ways. It's turned into architecture of my life. We build my life brick by brick together, and I bring her. You know, okay,
you've been seeing her a while.
Yeah, like 2 years. It's great. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about feelings that much. I'm kind of on that stuff, but it's like, you know, I don't have enough time to do all these projects. I want to do these projects, but also be with my kids. And how do I get the hours? I mean, it's very organized. And one of the things I've cracked through is like, of the 4 things I like to do as a professional, which are produce, write, act, and direct, I don't have time to do all of those things. So we really analyze, like, what are you good at and what do you like to do and all those things. And what it's come down to for me, and you may be experiencing something similar, is like, I am a good director. Mostly because I'm a really good writer and a pretty good actor and a synthesis of skills. But I'm not a visual maven, and I'm replaceable there. So I'm like, okay, I can put that away.
I felt. I was like, oh, someone can do this better.
I'll be good, but I can be beat. Okay, I'm going to put that away. As an actor, I have some really special sauce and some special stuff to offer. But, like, there are amazing actors out there, and I am quote-unquote replaceable. I'm just using that word for now. So I'm been kind of putting that stuff...
In a loving way.
In a loving way. Putting that stuff away a little bit. As a producer of something like Room 104 that is very specifically engineered to be cheap enough to have full creative freedom, to have the legs to be able to last, to be able to have all these friends in the industry who want to work with me and come do that, I'm irreplaceable. Like, I am the only person who can make this show the way it should be made.
There, yeah.
And so I'm like, bam, I'm going to hold on to that. Got it.
Yeah.
As a writer of, like, feature films, pretty good. I can be beat. As someone who can write an episode of Room 104 in 30 minutes from my subconscious, that's...
You mean you can just flow
I can
it
do
out
it.
and
it can be shot, and I have done it. Like that Sam Shepard thing. I have that, and I'm like, oh, irreplaceable. That's it. So that's what I'm honing in on these days. I'm just like leaning into those things, and I feel so good. I talk about this all the time with my dad. Like, we used to watch football together growing up, and like, we would, you watch the whole game, and it's 20-18, and the team that's down, they've been driving, they get the ball on the 35-yard line, and they cut to the kicker, 3 seconds left, and it's all on him. And I get this feeling in my gut where I'm so fearful for him and just so afraid that I would be him, And we watch him walk on the field just prancing carelessly. And we would always look at him and just be like, how is this possible? And like, he once said something to me, I'm going to make him sound more eloquent than he really was. But that was basically like, well, because I was like, when I go run a track meet, I feel terrible. I don't want the ball. I don't want the baton. And he's like, when you get to that spot where you're like that kicker where you want the ball, but when that clock is at that because you're the best, he's like, you're going to know you're in the right spot. And that for me right now is like, put me at that computer for Room 104. Nobody can beat me if there's 30 minutes to write a script.
That's great.
Put me at the lead of producing this show, and like, inviting young people, giving them love, supporting them, and mentoring through that stuff. Like, this is where I am meant to be.
You're prancing. What did you say, prancing? Onto the field?
I am prancing onto the field carelessly because I'm just like, I got this. This is what I do, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really cool that you recognize that. Not to say you won't direct someday and find yourself in that spot, but like...
It would have to be with something that I'm already...
As a star, writer, producer of this show, you're spent...
How much do you need?
Come on, dude. You want to hold the boom pole? Yeah. I think that's awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. What about directing? What's a great lesson you've learned about directing?
It's pretty simple, but I do keep harkening back on it, which is just like most directors spend 90% of their time setting up the shots and 10% of their time acting, and you got to flip it. So I'm willing to sacrifice visual acumen and some amazing stuff to keep my actors acting 90% of the time, ferreting out storylines, throwing things out, letting them do 30 takes and trying everything we can do. And that's the only way I know how to make good art.
That's very interesting. Very interesting to me, too. I know what you're talking about. I loved all our directors and have been directed by some incredible people now. I was surprised at how much of it is the visual thing.
Yeah.
I kind of thought, I think most people think directing, do an impression of a director. If someone comes in and goes, okay, your motivation here is that, you know what I mean? I've never heard the word motivation on a set.
I do this weird thing, like for the next season of Room 104, like Doug Emmett is my DP, and he manufactures and designs the look of the show, and he's really in charge of that. And the kinds of directors, I'm hiring like theater directors and like really smart actors who are just
keep telling your actors to project.
Obsessed.
Project.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't hear you.
Who are just obsessed with performance and story.
Yeah.
I only want a director who's obsessed with performance and story. And I let my DP handle the visuals. And that's kind of my new model these days, and I love it. But it's how I am as a director.
Right. What about emotion? Because something that in all of your movies, like I said earlier, I think I said they stick the landing. And with an emotional punchline, like Jeff on the Bridge, or togetherness whenever they came together. Like I think you and I both love agreement. I find it very moving. I find improv moving.
Me too.
Like I'm not like, ha ha. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
He listened. Like I'm just like really blown away by that.
Connection. Like
Connection
that is really...
and groups of people. So, Emily Gordon did this podcast. We always talk about, we'll get to it, religion. And she said, God to me is when somebody's hit by a car, but they're okay. They're like not dead. And a group of people come to help.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what I mean?
And you listen to that over and over again at night. Yeah.
Exactly. Togetherness, like the episode where they're in the park and they're playing a game.
Kickball.
Yeah. And there's like, you don't see it coming. Forgive me, I'm not remembering it, but like sprinklers come on and everybody's like banded together despite their differences. But something like that could be ham-handed.
Yes.
What is a great lesson you've learned about how to inject emotion or sentimentality? Because life is sentimental sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
My best lesson is to show it to all of your smart friends and show it to them early and listen to them. Because a lot of the times the things that you think are too much or too little, your barometer is just not right.
Right.
So I'm a kind of an art by committee person, and I know it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But as long as you're committed to your trusted friends, you know,
that's how I feel.
And we dial it.
Sorry to keep mentioning Judd, but that's one of the great privileges of working with him is that I can show it to him, and if he goes, it could be my favorite scene. In fact, we cut a scene that I was like, this is our everything.
Yeah.
This is my opus. And he goes, it's a little long. If anyone else said it was a little long, I'd be like, well, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And you can ask my other producers for evidence of that. Like I say it lovingly, but I'm just like, I think you're wrong. Then Judd can come in and go, it's too long. And I go like, it's not yes, sir. I'm not scared. I'm like, just kind of like, I respect.
Let's respect. Yeah.
We have a deep bench of good eyes. So that's great.
That's very critical for me.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to God just
let's
because.
Do it.
I mean, we could talk for a long time, but what do you think is the meaning of all this? What is the pulse behind the game?
Yeah.
How were you raised? You can take it however you want.
I was raised Catholic, but not that into it. I didn't rebel against it like crazy, but I was like, this is fine. This is whatever.
As you eat
know?
acid.
As I dropped acid. My kids my youngest kid is like really interested in death, which is like fascinating to me and not really scared of it, just kind of like curious about it, but also like wants us all to be together and doesn't want death to separate us. And I found myself unprepared to answer those questions and talking out of my ass.
See, with that, I always go. Sorry to interject.
Yeah.
With you and Jay, I just catch myself. Maybe I just like magical thinking, but I go, "Oh, you and Jay were souls, and you were friends before, and he said this time let's be brothers."
Yeah,
like that
feels right to me.
Does it? And
Yeah.
then when you say my daughter
Yeah.
is obsessed with death, and she wants us all to be together, I go, "Oh yeah, she probably was in a situation where she was separated from her family and died."
I tend to feel that way too.
Is that true?
Yeah, I tend to feel that way too.
I know it's kind of weird, but
No, I feel that way too. In various and sundry forms. Is she a collection of spirits? Is she one spirit? I don't know. Is she formed from that energy? I don't know. But what I found myself telling her, which is like a weird thing, kind of, but what I've told her is I wanted to offer her some comfort, but also some truth. And what I said was, so you don't have to worry about that. We're always going to be together because once you've loved someone, you stay inside of their hearts forever. And I think I believe that, and I desperately want to believe that. I have an agenda in that I love my life so much right now. I love my wife and my kids and my friends and my parents, and I want to know that after it's over, I will still be conscious enough and can see a form that feels enough like them to connect to it. I'm fine if it goes away because I'll probably not know anything more, but I deeply want to believe in that. Unfortunately, I don't. And
like when you die, you mean?
Yeah, when I die. I don't believe I'll be sentient when I'm dead, and I don't believe that I'm going to be like, I was once Mark Duplass, and there's Katie. That's wonderful.
I don't know why I'm drawn to this pan and scanned VHS
Yes, but I am loving it. How did I know he was going to win at the end of Karate Kid? How did I know?
Well, that's I was just reading that quote today. Ram Dass, who I'm obsessed with, is a spiritual teacher. He wrote Be Here Now.
Jay is obsessed with Ram Dass.
Well, I am.
You guys got to get together.
I would love to have Jay on. Deeply obsessed with Ram Dass. And I have this book called One-Liners. It's just every page just has like one little quote of his.
That's great.
And one of them says, yeah, it's a great. I don't mean to be gross, but it's a good bathroom book.
Yeah.
It's just like
Great.
Instead of looking at your phone, I consider it a victory to not look at my phone and just look. And because you can flip through it, I go, I'm only going to look at and contemplate one of these.
Yeah,
because they're condensed.
It's enough.
It's enough. Fucking. I was reading about there used to be a tradition that for children that write something like hate is a lack of imagination on a piece of wood. The kid would carve that wisdom into a piece of wood and carry it with them everywhere for a year.
We don't do that in the current society.
I know. Well, it's just more.
We write it in a marker
more.
and throw it away.
Exactly, and you forget
that every
it
day.
So if you put it on something heavy and it's actually burdensome to have it with you, you're not going to forget that hate
really
is a lack of imagination.
I like the simplicity of that. My friend David Cloyd, who was with me in my musician life years ago, read Moby Dick over the course of 2.5 years on the toilet. And loved it. He's just like, I'm floating out to sea, and this time it feels right. I'll never read Moby Dick otherwise.
As a whale of a different kind splashes beneath. That was a weird poop joke. Why do that?
Whale poop.
A whale of a different kind.
It's
such a wonderful podcast.
It's a podcast, and it should be funny. So.
Well, we are in the comedy category, so I had to make that joke.
Do it.
But it said, your soul's uniqueness survives death. Your personality does not. And I was like, and you know what I said?
Good.
I went, thank God.
Thank God.
I'm pretty much done with this already. I'm like you.
Yeah.
I couldn't love Val more. I couldn't love my life more. And at a certain point, it's not about the ego going, I was Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
I think it's but are you open to the idea of regeneration?
100%. I want to just live and have more fun. I want to be conscious and awake. I would be sad to feel like, okay, I just became like this general blob of peace that is essentially dew on a blade of grass, but not with awareness. Like that would be a bit of a bummer for me. Like I want to have some more laughs and some beers and make some new friends and do some more things.
Funny. Well, there's I think it's a Tibetan Buddhist idea that what you think of in the moment of your death is what you're clinging to and what your soul will be drawn back to.
It's like Ghostbusters.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. It's don't think of the Stay
Puft Marshmallow Man.
And
now you and I are going to become the Stay Puft Marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
We're going to remember each other when we die, and we're both
Oh
going
my
to be
God.
best friends.
You
Stay
and
Puft
Jay
Marshmallow.
need to make an eternal pact to think of something absurd that only
That's
you
the
guys
same.
would be.
Yeah.
So you can be that again.
You know, this the hard part and the truth of me and Jay is that we would say that, and then we would look each other in the eyes and we would say, no, our job now is to know that we actually need to think of things that are similar but different enough so that we can have our individualities.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's
Next time around.
That's what we're trying to learn how to do now.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's that 3/4 soulmates thing I was telling you about, you know.
Oh, you're working on that.
We are.
To
yeah.
keep the healthy wedge.
Yeah,
there.
well, there is a natural wedge because we're grown-ups with our own children and wives, and we can't know everything about each other and sleep in the same beds together anymore. And it's hard to be 100% soulmates. I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that. But
Well, yeah, with
it's
my
tough
mother.
with your mother.
Yeah. And that's still, I've done a lot of work to move on, but it's still very painful. And I get a lot of I'm only happy when you're here and that sort of stuff. And I say what my therapist has to say, which is, Mom, that's a lot of pressure on.
Yeah, and that's right. But moms are not so good with that stuff, and it's a different generation. And
It's true. But I feel, we talk about, there's a funny way to talk about it, but then there just is kind of in a reality, and I wonder if you feel this with Jay, you marry someone, I'm marrying Val, and it's not gross or bitter or acrid, but I do see my mom being like, I thought it was going to be us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always have to say, not sexual, but
No.
we had each other. My brother and my dad had sports and one another, and my mom and I had religion, and we had our own thing. Squid and the Whale. Did you see Squid and the Whale?
Sure.
Squid and the Whale. First line of Squid and the Whale, me and Mom versus you and Dad. That's the first line of that movie.
And you're like,
and I was like,
oh! I will never be the same.
I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
You had a non-sexual romance with your brother.
Oh, I mean, we were everything to each other except for the sexual part. I mean, and particularly as a little brother, I find it harder to figure out how to be anything other than that sometimes, you know, and to miss that at times, and we completely understand that life is different now. We can't be those things, you know.
But isn't that tragic?
It's tragic, you know.
It is.
It's really sad, and
that's what I'm trying to increase my compassion for my mother and try and say things to her, like almost from a soul level, and be like, Mom, we have a special relationship.
Yep.
And it's sad that this is how life is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
this is how it is. Mothers leave sons, brothers find wives.
Sometimes it's never this simple, but sometimes it can be very helpful just to say the words. I actually wish that I could split myself in two and give all of myself to you, because when we were that, I was never happier, and it was beautiful, and I'm so bummed it's impossible.
I can't believe I'm not weeping right now.
Yeah.
It's funny, I wrote a Post-it note to myself called Tips to Talking to Mom. And whenever she says, why don't you come home? Like, I'll go to New York. She lives in Boston. They live in Boston. Why don't you come home? And the answer is, I wish I could.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
100%.
Not, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Mom, oh, that would be the best.
Yeah.
I wish I could. And maybe I can one of these trips, but wouldn't that be fun?
And by the way, that's not untruthful.
Right. And I literally just say, oh, we could go to dinner, we could walk.
Yep.
That's all she wants to hear.
Yeah.
And then it's better than just facts.
90% better.
Head stuff.
Yes.
Heart says, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Remember when it was just us?
Yep.
You've helped me in that regard. That's helpful. So open to regeneration, God.
100%. Really, really want to believe it. Still every now and then when I get scared on a plane, will find myself praying because it's like a part of my rhythm, but not actively a part of my life. I meditate. But
TMs?
No, I don't do TMs. I just do the little simple Headspace app. I love.
I've heard a lot of people love that.
It's great, and I'm a notorious sleeper. Like I can fall asleep anywhere. So like
I heard that about Elijah Wood. You in the wood.
Me in the wood. Me and Elijah.
Elijah's a friend.
I just I lay down with that meditation app, and one of two things happens. I get through the 10-minute meditation and it was successful, or I was not present enough to meditate well and I fell asleep. So a failed meditation is a nap, and it's wonderful either way. So
that's like failed surfing is swimming.
Yes,
you can't lose.
You can't lose. Putting yourself in those win-win situations is also very good for your soul points, everyone. Good night.
Low forecast.
Yes.
Too good night. It doesn't feel like you want to get out of here, but I'm going to wrap us up and ask what the hardest time you've ever laughed was. If it's not the hardest, today what you think of when I say a time you laughed really hard. As a kid, last night, watching a movie.
My wife and I were given free tickets to see Jim Gaffigan. And I was so excited.
What if you were like, we couldn't make it, and she farted in the car?
Yes, yeah. And I was so excited to just like sit and like experience comedy and let it roll over me, you know? And I'd heard a lot about him, but I haven't seen much of his stuff. So I was like, oh, this is great. And I sat in the seat, and I immediately had a letdown because I was like, either I'm not in the mood or he's not feeling it tonight. I'm not connecting with the comedy. And I was like, and I'm going to be here for another hour, and it's not going to be. And it was good. He was good.
Right.
I just wasn't like connecting with it. You know,
like your meditation.
And it was hard. And the guy behind me was every time there was a punchline, he would scream out the last word of the punchline, no matter what it was, and laugh so hard. And his ability to enjoy it was crushing my inability to enjoy it. And then at a certain point, I just looked at Katie, who started laughing every time that guy was doing it. And we got the giggles. And it was like 30-minute fucking giggles. Anything, it started like I would have to lean in and whisper, and then we get. Then anytime anybody moved or felt anything, the giggles would come. And it was literally like I was like, I didn't realize how much tension I hold in my shoulders. Oh my God, I didn't realize how clenched I am.
Yes, how much you need it.
Just beat it out of me, and it was
wow.
And it was the best stand-up comedy show I've ever seen.
I wonder if I've ever looked into the crowd and saw two people having the best time.
Not because of you.
Yes, I didn't know, but they were laughing at some guy who kept going, unicorn.
As the guy who wrote and directed Jeff Lives at Home, I would say you were directly responsible from that no matter what. You were responsible for their laughter, and that's enough.
It is enough.
Yeah.
So much wisdom. This is fun. Did you feel good?
I feel great. This is awesome. You're awesome.
Thanks, man. You're
like
awesome.
The most fun podcast I've ever done.
I really
appreciate
you
talked for 2
taking
hours.
the time.
Are you kidding me?
We did.
Yeah.
We did, and we gotta. I mean, maybe we'll do it again sometime after other things and check in a couple years.
Great. For those of you who are wondering, Katie has slightly wavy brown hair. She has fair skin, some freckles, and she's about 5'7", and a real pleasure to be around.
I didn't mean to make this about planning the next one. That flies in the face of all the presents talk. Like, we should do this again.
Well, that makes me feel better. I'm starting to worry that you were too good at being in the present.
It's a Ram Dass thing. He used to guide people through LSD trips, and then at the end, they'd be like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And he was just like,
he would slap the shit out of him.
He would get frustrated that there's just not enough time. It's like, we just had that.
Yeah.
He didn't say it like that, but he was like, we just had that. Why are you trying to plan?
Yeah.
Can't we just... Anyway, the guest says the catchphrase at the end, and the catchphrase is keep it crispy. And it just means keep your soul points up.
Okay.
That's your motivation.
Keep it crispy.
Yeah, I felt it. Thank you, Mark.
I'm so crispy. I'm so crispy. My ice game make you haters wanna get me. I'm so crispy. I'm so crispy.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.
But he never got sick.
That man was Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like, how heartbroken would you be if Stevie Ray was like,
so
I'm going to tear down the house, but first, some safety. It's not very rock and roll.
It would be the ultimate irony, too, because he really did die very soon, even though he was sick.
Stevie Ray?
Yeah.
It's funny. Did Tom Petty pass yet?
He did.
Is he still,
it's official.
I didn't know if he was clinging.
It happened yesterday. Yeah, it's official.
I wasn't trying to be funny. I was going to say it's a heartbreaker. It is a heartbreaker, but I didn't mean that as a joke.
It's all right. But anything you say is going to contain one of his lyrics. because he wrote 26 incredible hit songs. So it is impossible not to pun.
It's gonna happen.
So let's just let it roll.
But then I was thinking about the role in which rock and roll's reputation with unsafety.
Yeah.
Like putting a mic guard is very prudent, but it's not very rock and roll.
No.
And then Tom TP and the HBs, I watched a video with Gary Shandling and Tom talking. It's on YouTube.
Wow.
Worth watching.
From what year?
It was in the 90s, I believe.
Wow.
And they had been friends for a while.
Oh,
and they were doing
what a
it
friendship.
But like friends like
Yeah.
hugeness for Gary, at least, I guess.
Yeah.
And then TP was smoking the whole time. And I was kind of like, it's interesting because I feel like you might be interested in this area. He's Tom Petty and he's being Tom Petty.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Petty seems like he would like, how much do we encourage that sort of behavior for him to smoke? Is it like when I found out that Tom Petty, when he did like a voice on King of the Hill, would like duck out to smoke, I'm kind of like rock and roll.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, Tom Petty dies and you're like, shit,
man.
Maybe we should.
Was I a part of the collective enabling of Tom Petty in some strange way? Is a question.
What I'm saying, like national and a global collective enabling of bad behavior.
Listen, I get it.
I don't know why I thought you would like that, but
No,
the
totally
roles
get
that
it.
we
Yeah.
play. I feel like your work explores who we are, who we think we are.
Yeah. I
And
was
Tom
having a
Petty-
real big Tom Petty run. I watched his big 4-hour documentary on Netflix. If you haven't seen it,
I did see it.
the first 2 hours are amazing. The next 2 hours are a little bit.
Well, the last 2 hours are just "I am not your guru."
It's just like, it doesn't really matter.
It rolls into Tony Robbins.
Exactly.
It's very weird.
But the first 2 hours were great, and I was struck so much by his confident, straight, loving truthfulness with he approached people and everything. Where I'm just I'm always like having conversations with 2 or 3 people.
Get Valerie.
To say, get into it.
Yes. Get into it.
I mean, these guys are pretty tight, high and tight, so we should be good. I used to be a musician, and I used to sing into one of these things. So.
Oh, you used a wind guard, a blue wind guard? I was just watching did you watch the Tony Robbins? We're recording, by the way, just so you're not caught off guard.
Hey, Pete.
I just want you to know. Some people feel off put by that. Did you watch I Am Not Your Guru, the Tony Robbins documentary?
I did.
And there was a guy, it reminded me very much of church. You know what I mean? Like
I found it very odd.
It is very odd.
I had this erroneous perception of Joe Berlinger as a guy who was going to dig deep and elucidate some of the inconsistencies and fallacies within.
But I think Tony Robbins had final cut on it.
Clearly. Clearly something was wrong, because I kept watching him being like, wow, he's giving Tony all this validation that 30 minutes in, and he's still not showing that. 45 minutes in, he's still not showing the crack. 60 minutes in, oh, and this is just going to be
a puff piece,
an enormous blowjob.
I
to Tony Robbins.
thought, it's funny that you say that because I watched it a second time. And the reason I brought it up was his staff. Really,
it's a lot like my staff downstairs.
Yes, it reminds me a lot of the vibe of your work, actually.
Yeah.
No, but there was a guy. They all felt like associate pastors. He felt like a pastor, and they all felt like associate pastors.
Yeah. And
one of those assistant guys or employees, the wind guard matched his shirt. I'm sure it was an accident, but it didn't look like an accident. You know what I mean? I was like, I wonder if he grabbed the red mic because he was wearing a red shirt.
That's pretty cool, man.
But
these wind guards are great.
There's a lot of wind up here.
Musicians don't use them though, because they feel like it ruins like the sound quality. So you go to like a shitty rock club. So I got sick on every tour I ever went on. I would be sick within like the first 5 days. And I always get so fussy because I was the lead singer, and I was like, I can't sing well, and people aren't going to like me, and the whole thing, all the things we feel. And
but for music,
exactly.
Like you had to tell somebody
as is applied to music.
Yes.
And then like literally like on my 4th or 5th tour, I like saw like some like guy who was like 15 years older than me like step up to sing and like pull his own SM58 out of his pockets,
like
microphone. And put it on there, and then put his windscreen on top of it. And I was like, I see what's happening.
Wait, he brought his own mic and
you have your own mic and your own. You're not only removing everyone else's germs, you're taking the microphone that only has your germs and protecting yourself from your own germs.
Yeah, but that guy's a lame-o.
that guy's a lame-o. People that I like to figure out how best to maneuver a situation into my favor with some various and sundry form of a mistruth, basically. It's like always some, what should I say to get it to go this way, and how do I do it to
have you ever caught yourself saying you agree with something that you absolutely don't agree 100%. With, just to kind of be
100%
likable,
either put it behind
peaceable.
Me or to get some love or whatever it is. And when he talks about when he discovered Howie, the bass player in his friend's band who he was producing, and Tom Petty's friend starts to realize, Tom is in love with my bass player, Howie, and Howie is the most important thing in my band, and I have to protect this. So Tom's friend comes to him and says, listen, man, please, you take whatever you want. Don't take Howie. He's my whole band. You can't do that to me. And the way Tom describes it, looking at his friend and saying, hey, man, listen, it's okay. Just relax. I'm going to steal Howie because I'm a more popular musician than you are, and he's going to want to come with me, and that's what he should do. But I still want to be your friend, and I hope we can get over it.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he got over it, sort of. Yeah. And he was so at peace with the way that all played out, slightly dirty.
But that's that outside perspective that artists can sometimes have, even on their own lives. Not you and I.
Yeah.
It sounds
Never.
like we're in situations where we're stuck in them.
Yeah.
But he and Gary Shanley seemed to be guys that were like, yeah, and that was really unpleasant.
Yeah,
they could just kind of be like, wow, I really the character of Tom really fucked over that guy that day.
Yeah.
But the Heartbreakers had to be had that sense of drive.
He even has a moment in the big HBO documentary about what's his name, the Beats guys. Jimmy Iovine. And
the Beats guys.
Where he talks about how Jimmy Iovine wanted to become a producer, and it was
that one,
nothing he could do. He was drifting. His destiny was to become a producer away from the creativity.
These guys seem like murder mystery novelists in that they're working from the ending. Somehow they already know the ending.
They do.
They're like, well, I had to become Dr. Dre. Why did I do a Jimmy Iovine impression while being Dr. Dre?
I don't know, but
I don't know.
What none of you who are listening to this got to experience is that weird swirling and finger point thing that you did at the same time, which there's only two of us here.
Yeah,
and we got to.
But it happened.
Me and Katie. Katie got to see it.
See, you're manipulating this situation in a wonderful way because you're remembering Katie's name and you're being kind and friendly.
I want to win. I want to win. I want to be loved.
Can I tell you, Katie?
I want to be adored.
You'll say, how many people acknowledge... It's not that they need to, but not a lot of people acknowledge you, right? It's not mean.
Nobody gives a shit about Katie.
It is nice to...
The past 3 years, I've taken Alpha Brains on it. If you want to try it, and I suggest that you do, go to onnit, onnit.com/weird, and you will get 10% off your purchase. The other one that I use, I had a little crick in... Well, it's not a crick if it's in your shoulder. I had a little pain in my shoulder, a little bit of a headache. I use Charlotte's Web Hemp Oil. This is made from the hemp plant, but they take out the THC part, so it is just the non-psychoactive CBD part of the plant, which gives me a happy, healthy, giggly, relaxed, low anxiety glow that I have come to swear by. It's a wonderful alternative to having a cocktail if I'm just trying to unwind at the end of the night. But it doesn't fog you up or get you anything even really close to stoned, meaning you can read a book, you can watch a movie, you can hold a conversation, and it's legal in all 50 states. This is not a narcotic. This is the CBD part of the plant, which is very, very healthy. The Stanley Brothers did an episode where we discussed it at length. If you have more thoughts about CBD, or if you just want to dive in and try it, I like the mint chocolate flavor. I like Everyday Advance or Everyday Plus. And you can go to CW, like Charlotte's Web, cwhemp.com/weird, and use promo code KEEPITCRISPY for 10% off. Thanks again to Squarespace. Thank you for supporting us, Squarespace. Remember, if you need to start your business, make it stand out, a new business, with Squarespace. Beautiful templates created by world-class designers. It is easy to turn your new idea into a unique and wonderful website. You can showcase your work, blog, or publish content You even sell products in a unique store and services of all kinds in just a few clicks. Customize everything from the look and feel to settings and products. You can use their analytics to help you grow in real time. Not to mention, everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box. Means it's going to look good on a computer. It's going to look good on a phone. And with over 200 extensions to choose from, Squarespace offers a new way to buy domains. Best of all, there's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. And even though it's super easy, if you do have a question, Squarespace's award-winning 24/7 customer support is always there to help. A dream is just a great idea that doesn't have a website yet, so make it a reality with Squarespace. If you need a free trial, I highly recommend a free trial. Go to squarespace.com and use offer code WEIRD for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com, offer code WEIRD. All right, guys, hope to see you at Largo in October or November. Try Pete's Pick. Enjoy Mark Duplass, and thank you, Squarespace. Get Valerie.
Now entering Nerdist.com.
You made it weird. You made it weird. You made it weird. Oh yeah. You made it weird. You made it weird. Yes, you did. You made it weird. Oh yeah.
You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes.
What's happening, weirdos? A few people comment from time to time, like Jack Johnson and whatnot, that these podcasts have a lot of "did we just become best friends" moments. And this episode is maybe the hardest core example of that. This is Mark Duplass. I am a huge fan of Mark Duplass, from Puffy Chair all the way up to Togetherness and every movie and project and Animals and everything in between. So it was a thrill to have him on, and you're listening to us becoming friends, which is always so wonderful when that happens. So let's get to it. My Largo show's coming up October 19th. That's this month. On the 19th, I'm going to be doing stand-up at Largo. On November 9th, I'm going to be workshopping my book about God live at Largo, talking to the audience, reading sections from the book. That one is going to be very exciting. I hope weirdos are there for both of those shows. And there's going to be one December. It's either going to be 6, 7, or 8. I'm not positive. But there's going to be one in December as well, if you're hearing this around that time, which is going to be stand-up. Largo-la.com for tickets. This wonderful episode, is brought to us by our wonderful friends at Squarespace. You guys know, if you need a website and you need it to be beautiful and you need easy-to-use templates created by world-class designers, Squarespace makes it easy to turn your ideas into a new and unique website in just a few clicks. Their analytics help you grow in real time, and if you have a question, you have 24/7 customer support there to help. So, if you need a free trial, if you're not convinced, get a free trial, squarespace.com, and use offer code WEIRD to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Whew, why am I winded? I also want to give a shout out to Pete's Picks. Used both my Pete's Picks today, as I do most days, which is why they're called Pete's Picks. One is Alpha Brain. It is a nootropic. It is like fish food for your noggin. It's earth-grown ingredients. It's not a stimulant. It helps you with concentration, memory, focus. Anytime I do something creative that uses my brain, I am taking 2 or 3 Alpha Brain 15 minutes before, and I absolutely feel the difference. I love it. I always have a couple in my pocket. I always have a bottle in my car, in every backpack that I have, in every podcast, script, stand-up set that I have done for the